Welcome back to episode 233 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Baba Louie. I'm here with Phil. What's going on, boys?
Hey.
Baba Louie.
What's going on?
How are you?
A little sniffly, but I'm doing okay.
You're on the mend?
On the mend.
All right. We need you healthy for the expo. So take those vitamins. Go to bed early.
Flintstone vitamins.
Oh, you beat me to it. Take your Flintstone.
Phil from Ottawa is here. Hey, Phil. How's it going?
Sir. That's going. It's going midweek. Yeah, midweek.
All right.
Grind. Yeah.
I always feel the banter is hardest on our Thursday show because we just saw each other like a day, right? I mean, there's not a lot of time in between. So not much has happened other than working on life, working at our jobs, working on the show. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just get into it. Gonna make a quick update on Rip Party. Guys, we're just a couple of weeks, can you believe it, away from Rip Party. I cannot wait. We're still getting giveaways. They're rolling in. This should be one of the biggest giveaways in our little hobby's history. If you remember, on Friday, November 8th, we'll be live streaming from the Chateau Gongshow. I like how Sylvain said it last night. Chateau. Is that different? Chateau.
He's refined.
Chateau Gongshow. Starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to have 2 rip stations, a sky cam, and a hit cam. Non-stop box breaks.
And sandwiches.
Phil's... Louis will be at his computer space station with Keith from Just Hockey Cards. They're going to be making it all work. They're going to be you know how like when you're watching the broadcast or whatever and they go to the control room, we won't have that, but we'll have a folding table. That'll be our version, a Gongshow's version of a control room. You guys will be making it all work.
Bunch of cat toys and squeeze balls for Louis. Make them
like tinfoil hats with like wires on them. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to have a handful of people coming to the Chateau, opening some fun, interesting, and in many cases, we're hearing spendy boxes. It's getting a little competitive with the invitees for Rip Party. So we're all going to get to cheer them on and hope that they hit some big cards. That would be fun. But also, we're going to be giving away, I'm thinking, guys, I'm tabulating. I got the supercomputer out. Upwards of 20 boxes that businesses and people around the hobby are donating. So to anyone watching, I think primarily on YouTube, you're going to want to be on YouTube. It'll be live streamed other places, but we have the giveaway tool and you'll be in a chat and we'll say, hey, enter this, Phil is not really Canadian, hashtag Phil's not Canadian. And then maybe it'll be like a box of 2023 SP Authentic with maybe a Connor Bedard Future Watch Auto. And then whoever wins it, we'll open it and send you all the hits. So it's our...
I'm kidding. We're all the hits. We're not sending the base cards though, right?
No.
Okay.
It's all our fall expo, or the Rip Party is our fall expo event for people that really can't make it to Toronto or are too tired to leave their hotel room or Airbnb like we would be if it wasn't our event. And we're going to be streaming the event on YouTube, Twitter, or X, whatever you call it, Facebook, Twitch. We think Instagram. We're working on that. But it should be a crazy time. We have so many boxes that we think we're kind of tabulating. We could be up pretty late that night, huh, guys?
Yeah, pretty late.
Yeah.
But you can rip a box pretty quick, Like,
oh, yeah. Well, I don't think I'll get tired, though. I mean, the juices flow.
Yeah, the adrenaline.
Opening a box of a big box of cards. So
do my sandwiches make more sense now? We need fuel. See?
Yeah, we've got stuff like that coming too. We got some snacks for the people that are going to be there. I don't know, how are you guys feeling, Louis? You feeling ready? How are we doing on the tech side? Okay, Phil, you're going to co-host Rip Party with me. You excited about that?
Yeah,
we're going to be walking around with microphones. We're going to be men of the people.
Yeah,
absolutely. The vibe of the room, so that should be fun. Again, Friday, November 8th, 9 Eastern Time, live from the Chateau, Rip Party. Hopefully, you all can be there. And the only thing I want 2 things more than anything. I want there not to be a technical disaster. So everybody, whoever you pray to, maybe pray for that.
The bubbly little gods.
I want to give away boxes, and I want at least one person to hit a ridiculous monster card. Wouldn't that be so fun?
Be great. Yeah.
For someone, just like maybe hanging at home on Friday night and They just check out Rip Party and they enter hashtag whatever in the chat, and they win the box of the cup, and they get like some ridiculous card, and we just like make their hobby day. I think that would be so amazing.
Sweet.
But listen, good listener, there's a flip side to that coin. If the boxes are dusty, we tried our best, and we're all gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be good.
They get to choose their box ripper.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I don't know yet.
No,
I think in some cases maybe we'll have the person that donated the box might want to open it,
oh,
or maybe they can.
Yeah.
Maybe they think Phil's good luck.
They've seen me handle cards. I don't know. That's why I want them to pick to rip, because I don't think anyone will pick me. I drop my cards a lot.
Does this card bend in half?
Yeah.
Oops. I cannot wait. Last thing, though, before we get started, is a reminder that our show, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, is a Patreon podcast. That means we rely on support of listeners like yourself to help us cover expenses, continue to produce more and what we hope is better hockey card content, and fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey hobby, a la Rip Party, stuff like that. You can support our show for as little as $5 US a month. Be one of the first 199 supporters of our show, forever have that title. You also get exclusive access to the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server. You can contribute to the show. Like we'll ask when we have upcoming interviews, questions that we might want to ask and stuff like that. We do fantasy hockey. We have a 5K challenge that we do every year. And we're always trying to add more and more fun stuff to do there. It's very easy to support us. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page, or go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. There's a link in the show description if you're listening to us on a podcast app or watching on YouTube, and then finally in our Instagram and TikTok profiles there. Now, Louis forgot to write the game plan. Troy did that once, and it didn't work well.
No.
So you're going to try to wing it.
Thanks for the
confidence. We're all going to stare and judge.
Okay, stare and judge, y'all. Here we go with the game plan then. We're going to start off with Josh's new segment, Get to Know Your Hall of Famers. Next up, top 5 Bedard rookies under $1,000. After that, we're off to Hobby News, and then we jump into our interview with Sylvain with Confessions of a Card Dealer, Chapter 6. Then we'll take an early look at the top 5 highest selling Young Guns. Then we're off to Phil. You ready?
I'm ready.
How Canadian is Phil?
I got this, country.
A little Q&A with Phil. Then we will jump into the Fanatics Collect Weekly Preview, and then personal pickups to close out.
That was pretty good. I think
maybe I shouldn't write it anymore.
So cute.
I think you gained some fans with that game plan for sure. That was
nice.
Very smooth. Liked it. All right, we ready for Get to Know Your Hall of Famers?
Let's do it.
Ready.
All right, we're in the 4th installment of our little bit here, and we've got really good feedback so far, which is great because we always want to make sure that we're spotlighting vintage on our show. And we started at the very beginning with the first Hall of Fame class that consisted of 9 players that were enshrined in 1945 to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Today, we're profiling a guy that a couple of days ago, I'll admit I never heard of. His name is Harvey Pulford.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of an old looking, looks a little
Silver
relaxed there. As we get to know our Hall, wow, Phil.
Yeah.
You knew that. You pulled Silver 7.
Well, that's Ottawa Silver 7. I don't know much about him. I think he was one of those guys that played a lot of sports. That's all I know, though.
Yeah, you might learn something. Okay.
Good.
Well, as we get to know our Hall of Famers, we're going to do a quick bio. Then we're going to cover why we should care about him. And then finally, we'll get an overview of Harvey's hobby market. We ready?
Let's go.
Let's go. Ernest Harvey Pulford was a Canadian athlete who lived from 1875 until dying at 65 years old in 1940. So finally, we have a guy who lived till 40 years old. This is the first. We're on the 4th guy, and he's the first one to make it to 40. So I feel better about that. He's a Canadian, maybe like Phil. We'll find out that later. He was born in Toronto, Ontario, and was a hockey defenseman. But he was not just a star ice hockey athlete. Pulford won national championships in lacrosse, football, boxing, paddling, rowing, and yes, hockey.
Wow.
That's impressive.
That's crazy, yeah.
Wow.
Show off.
Lacrosse?
Jack
Yeah.
of all trades, master of all.
What's the difference between paddling and rowing? I should have looked that up. Maybe somebody will mention that in the comments.
Yeah, you paddle and you row.
Doggy. So you're saying he won the national championship in doggy paddle?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, Harvey's hockey career spanned from 1893 until 1908. Now, if you're watching the video of our show, Pulford is in the second row, third from the left. Now, Phil, I had to look at the picture of the coach up in the background there. He is rocking an outfit that I could see you loving.
I love that. Yeah.
Nice three-piece suit, top hat, got the big old tie, thick tie, tied tight.
Don't
there.
encourage him. Don't encourage him.
Dressing good is the ladies like it, boys. You got to dress up.
Mhm.
Got to dress up.
Now, he only played 113 games that were recorded, at least in a 15-year period. They didn't play a lot of games back then. Like, if you look at stats, a season would be like 9 games or 6 games or something like that. He was a defenseman who played his entire career in Ottawa, Phil.
Nice.
That's in Canada, if you're not
Mhm.
aware.
Mhm.
In his career, he scored 8 goals and played before assists were recorded. So who knows how many technically assists he would have. He did not score a goal, though, until his 7th season. And mainly because defensemen of that era were expected to stay back behind the play. Like, it was taboo to actually be a puck-moving or, rushing defenseman. He was a pretty big guy for the time, 5'11", about 200 pounds. And Pulford was known as a hitter, a man's man, as Phil might say. But definitely, of course, not much of a puck mover. So why should we care about Harvey Pulford? Well, he won 4 Stanley Cups with the Ottawa Hockey Club in 1903, 1904, 05, and 06. He was a pioneer of the defensive position in hockey. He was a tough physical presence, and a style of play laid the groundwork for future generations of defensemen. He was particularly effective in the physical, rough and tumble style of early hockey, when the game was much more rugged than today's version. After reading all these guys' bios, like, they mention something to that effect every time. It kind of makes me want to go back in a hot tub time machine and see what a game it was like, a street brawl back then. I don't know.
Like Gangs of New York kind of style, you know?
Yeah.
Was saying a pioneer of the defensive position in hockey just a better way of putting he had high defensive IQ?
Yeah,
maybe
probably,
that
yeah.
was like for the time. So Pulford's Ottawa Hockey Club during their Stanley Cup run was coined, as Phil's already said, the Silver Seven, as they were the sport's first real dynasty and dominated the Stanley Cup during the first decade of the 1900s. Now, the Silver Seven was a media phrase used. Why? Do you have any idea, Phil, why they were called Silver Seven?
I used to know, and I do not anymore.
So the media coined it, and because for 2 reasons. Number one, on a hockey roster at the time, there was only 7 players. So I assume you played the whole game because there were 6 skaters, or maybe, well, that would be like maybe one person in the resting and a goalie. I don't know. We should check that though. Maybe there were 6 players at because there was like rover positions. Who knows? The game was different back
In
then.
hockey? Rover?
Yeah, that was the position.
No kidding.
Is that like today's cherry pickers?
Like Eric Carlson. Ouch.
What?
Shots fired! Shots fired!
The other reason, though, why they were called the Silver Seven is Ottawa apparently is known for its silver mines. Is that true?
Yeah, and up near Renfrew, I believe.
Okay. Oh, the Creamery Kings, Renfrew?
Yeah, you're onto there, Josh. You're an honorary Canadian already. You might be more Canadian than me, but we'll find out.
We'll find out. Well, so not only was Harvey a member of the Silver Seven, he captained the team during their Stanley Cup run. So he's a leader as well. Now, when you look at Harvey Pulford's hockey card market, so much like Hod the Bod Stewart, who we profiled a few days ago, Harvey Pulford's career really predates the first hockey card set that was produced in 1910. So he was done playing in 1908, and the first hockey card set came out in 1910. So there really are not any Harvey Pulford cards. I could only find 5 sales of this one. It's a 1985 set called Cartophilium Hockey that profiled, I think, every person in the Hall of Fame. So I guess they at least have one card. And this one, hold on to your hats, guys. Last sold for 79 cents US.
Oh,
Raw in July.
break the bank. Do you know what's cool
But
about this picture? That our OHL team, the Ottawa 67s, adopted this jersey. So that's the Ottawa 67s jersey.
Oh yeah, I kind of like that. It's got like a
cool.
old school vibe to it. So it appears we can appreciate Harvey Pulford's contributions to the game of hockey, but we can't collect them because there's really nothing to collect. So I don't know, Phil, is there a lot of Silver 7 lore there in Ottawa? Sounds like there is.
There. I don't know a lot about it, but definitely when the Sens first came into Ottawa in 1992, 93, they really pushed the history. And I wish I paid more attention, but I was a young man then, not paying attention.
A wee lass?
A wee lassie, Phil. Yes, a wee boy. So the lore is great. I hope with new management, new ownership, maybe they can go back on that. We have a restaurant at CT Center that's called that used to be called Frank Finnegan's. That was really cool. You know, a lot of people would ask. It had all the memorabilia on the walls, but then Brad Marsh bought it and changed it.
Okay. Well, now that's 4 out of 9 original Hockey Hall of Famers that we profiled, and we'll go on to number 5 next episode. So we're going to go to a guy who is a foundation builder of the game, right, Louis, as I said, that has no hobby, to a guy who has the most hobby of any rookie ever in the history of the sport. So I wouldn't look back. The last time we looked at or evaluated our favorite Connor Bedard rookie cards on the show was in May. And that's when maybe a handful of the 2023-24 sets were out, where there's actually cards that were not redemptions that were in hand. And at the time, we looked at our 5 just favorite Bedard rookies, regardless of price, ones that we just thought were the coolest or had the longest or the best long-term potential. And so now as we fast forward 5 months, and I was thinking about Bedard rookies again, I always go back to the fact that, you know, the sheer amount of choices that people have already, and there's stats that are still rolling out. We're going to have 2023-24 SP Authentic next week. So according to TCDB, we're up to, as of right now, 834 and counting unique Connor Bedard rookie cards in just the 2023-24 rookie year sets. And of course, we're still seeing huge 5-figure sales as green PMGs, Emerald Surge, when those come out. And those big sales will always tend to capture the headlines. But now, though, that there are so many options to choose from, like I said, over 800, I do think that some really cool looking, cheaper options that still have decent long-term potential have presented themselves. And so we're going to go through 5 cards that won't necessarily crush your bank account, but we think have a good chance that have wide appeal today and have a good chance of being sought after, even when you look maybe 5 years or so down the road. And again, all this is dependent on him panning out, because nothing's gonna have long-term potential if he becomes a bust, right? But I don't think any of us think that that's going to happen at this point. So I came up with 5 cards. Louis and Phil, you guys can chime in with your thoughts. Phil's added some other honorable mentions at the end that I'm excited to go through. But Phil, you're listening.
Absolutely.
They're in no particular order. Okay, even though you're going to take it that way, right? They're not in any order.
Well, so, the good listener can count on when I do things, they're going to be in order.
Okay. We'll look forward to that. Thank you. So here's the first card that I selected. Now, again, these are all Bedard rookies currently under $1,000. The 2023-24 o-pee-chee Premier, which is an o-pee-chee paper, Connor Bedard Diamond Rainbow rookie out of 75. So the last raw one.
Yeah, beautiful card.
Last public sale was for $500 US on August 9th. Now, not only in my opinion is this card awesome looking, kind of has a little bit of a color match vibe to it, a little bit. Well, I mean, it's like every color in the rainbows and the Blackhawks logo, so you'd maybe make that argument about anything. I think I've heard more comments, though, about this particular card than just about any other Bedard rookie that's in this like price threshold of less than $1,000. I don't know about you guys, but I've probably had 15 people bring this card up to me, just out of in various contexts of talking about Bedard. And so that I think that's kind of a cue that a lot of people are really into the card. It's out of 75, so it's pretty rare. And again, if you find a raw one that is grade worthy and maybe you get lucky if that's your goal or that's what you like to do, if it gems, then you could probably do pretty well and have much more than $1,000 card at that point. So I'm a big fan of the Diamond Rainbow o-pee-chee premieres. Well, I assume by your exuberance that you're
Yeah, I'm a big o-pee-chee cardboard guy. And then when the Diamond Rainbow came up, I am buying the Sens parallels. Parallels or inserts? What do I say?
Parallel,
right?
parallel.
Yeah. So I'm
Well,
buying
the o-pee-chee premiere is an insert, and then this
True.
one's a parallel.
parallel of
the
that
insert.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I've picked up as many Sens cards as I can. I think I even got a Kopitar, was it? I love these o-pee-chee Premier Diamond Rainbows. And this Bedard card is a big banger. Great choice, Josh. Great choice.
I'd leave it
You
this
like
way
it, Louis?
too. I love it. And I'm not a huge grader, but I wouldn't even grade it. I just love
You
it.
can't refract it well if it's in the slab,
Mm-hmm.
True.
My opinion.
Yeah. Looks good, raw. Okay, the second card. Staying with o-pee-chee, but we're going platinum this time. 2023-24 o-pee-chee Platinum. The Red Prism, Connor Bedard, marquee rookie out of 199 raw. So this one last sold for $593 on October 8th. And if you followed our show for a while, you'll know I'm kind of a Red Prism guy. I think it's a sneaky good o-pee-chee Platinum Parallel. It's still pretty rare, or it's rare enough at 100 out of 199. And I think why I like this card so much is, to me, it's part of what I consider the core group of Platinum Parallels, which would be the Red Prism, Seismic Gold, Orange Checkers, Emerald Surge, and Golden Treasures. Now, there's always a lot more parallels, but Upper Deck kind of tends to mix and they do like liquid metal, bioluminescence, Arctic freeze. They do like guys in a fish tank, like an aquarium kind of one too. But to me, this is one of the core ones. And there is a heritage. It goes back all the way to like the McDavid rookie. And you get the bonus in the Red Prism this year with the color match too, where here you do have that kind of red with, they very smartly put Bedard in the red uniform as well. And I don't know if you're thinking, well, $600 is a little spendy for an out of 199 Bedard rookie, but I think in the case of the Red Prism, it's worth it. There's a lot of other 199 parallels that are much less meaningful, I guess, in my opinion. So I'm a big fan of this card, and I think that, again, if you want a card that's going to be desirable down the road, but you don't have $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to get that big parallel, that at less than $600 US, this is a pretty decent option. I don't know, Phil. What do you think of that?
Have you guys seen the o-pee-chee Platinum in hand yet this year? I haven't held a card in hand.
Yeah.
They look good. Sharp.
Yeah, they look really sharp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
o-pee-chee Platinum is one of my favorite sets of all time, but the last few years, there's something about the design. Maybe it's just Allure taking my love, but this Bedard card is a good pick, Josh. It's a smart pick. Out of the 199, definitely going to be under 1,000. You'd hope. I mean, maybe someone will try to get it for 1,100, but you should probably not buy this card for more than 1,000, I would think.
No, I think I like $500 or $600 raw. It's very appropriate. Do you like the Red Prism, Louis?
That's a no.
No.
Okay.
No. Maybe I just don't like it in the way the light's shining on this one, though. I've seen Red Prisms and they don't look so colorful.
You can never
prismy.
Prismy. Yeah.
Well, they're always gonna have that chromium kind
just
of thing.
give me that orange checkers. I'll be good.
Okay. That's gonna be probably like $6,000. So
you want my wheelhouse.
Orange checkers over Seismic Gold? What? Are you serious?
I would.
Well, no, you got to explain. Louis got a thing with the color orange. From a hobby standpoint, the smarter play would be to buy the Seismic Gold, but Louis loves orange, so that makes sense. He's thinking with his Louis hat on, not with
Yeah.
his like hobby advice hat on.
Oh, don't listen to me for
Well,
hobby
Louis,
advice.
Louis, knock knock.
What?
No, Jesus.
Oh,
Knock,
who's
knock.
there?
Orange.
Aren't you?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
Ah, do-do-do-do.
Is this what our show's devolved to at
You
this
can edit
point?
that out.
Okay, no, we'll keep that in. We're keeping that in for sure. Okay, next one 2023-24 Allure doubloons.
Meh.
No, this what?
Mm.
You crazy? Go
Mhm.
ahead, Josh. Louis, enough.
All right. Well, it's Louis doesn't love it, but it is the doubloons, and the last one sold for $728 US on October 3rd. I just love this card. I think a lot of people are sleeping on doubloons. It's an upper comer that doesn't have a lot of momentum yet, but I can see it building. I guess that's my opinion. Pretty tough odds to hit these. So you might be thinking, like, if you go to the checklist, you're like, well, doubloons are 1 in 108 pack odds. That's not very rare. But when you factor in, guys, that there's 100 players on the 2023-24 doubloons checklist, so to hit a Bedard is 1 in 10,800 packs. That's one doubloon. That's one Bedard doubloon in about every 1,200 boxes or 67 cases.
That's crazy.
Pretty tough card because they're 18 box cases.
So it's
And I
not
think
numbered, but it's a short print.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty rare. And I think Allure is a rising set too, and we kind of fanboy and gush over Allure a lot on this show. And because Upper Deck keeps taking leaps and bounds forward with the designs, and especially in the past two releases, and they've done a really good job improving I believe, the doubloons design as well. And I know, Phil, that's one thing you pointed out, and kind of comparing the 2022 doubloons to 2023, that you thought that the design was a lot stronger, right?
Big difference. Big difference. I picked up as many doubloons from last year's as I could, and I thought they were gorgeous. But Billy said, he was happy about them, but he wasn't ecstatic. I think he was like B minus, but it should have been an A plus, A triple plus this year. And I see more his vision. It came out in the print better, right? That border, that very Victorian. I don't know. It's just a really nice card, and I love gold. I love the color gold. It's much better than orange.
Well, and whether you like gold or not, you talk to any sports card dealer, and this is not just in the hockey hobby, but gold is the magic color.
Yep.
Eye-catching.
It's the highest selling anything that has gold in it is, dealers will typically look for it because they know that it's so sought after by collectors. So again, nobody has a crystal ball, but I wouldn't be surprised if this Bedard insert isn't highly sought after a few years down the road. Now, one kind of interesting question that I have about this, maybe for you, Phil, is when you get one in person for the first time, they're a lot thicker.
Yeah.
Than you.
They're 55.
You like that about that, or do you think it would be better if it was like a 35-point card or something like that?
I like it. So this is the old one here. I like the 55 point because I'm a one touch guy. I love my one touches. I'll break my bank to protect my investments, even though I don't think of them as investments. Protect my little babies. I like the 55 points. Fits nice and snug in the one touch. You know what? I haven't actually put it in yet. It might be a 75. I'm not good with that. It's a 55 or 75.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but they're sharp. They're very, very sharp, and they look. Take it out of the penny sleeve. Take it out of the top loader. Hold it in hand, naked. It is a beautiful card, especially this year's. Last year's is really good too. I don't want to knock on it, and I'm really excited to see what year 3 looks like. And I like saying the word doubloons. It's fun.
When you say hold it in hand naked, what are you talking about?
No penny sleeve, no top loader, just raw.
So you should have your clothes on.
You told me to put them on. I prefer to be naked. True story.
Have you seen one of these in hand, Louis?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you can judge it till you see it in hand. But you're
Fair
saying
enough.
you're not a fan of gold?
I'm just not a gold fan on cards. No.
You like copper? You're a copper brass guy?
No, neither.
Hey, I got to point something out. On the card, it's got the big Upper Deck logo. That would upset Troy. Just gotta
Yeah.
mention that.
Yeah.
But it kind of at least fits in the background. So maybe that'd work there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's card 3. That's the 2023 Allure Connor Bedard doubloons. The fourth option that I found for under $1,000 is going back to o-pee-chee paper. It's the retro black border out of 100 raw. Now this card last sold for $809 on September 16th. I am personally a very big fan of the 2023 o-pee-chee paper retro designs, and I've always found the black border cards to be stunning. And to me, this Bedard is no exception to that. Now, there's again, it's out of 100, so you can be confident in its rarity in that. The one thing I will say though, when you're looking at these, is you want to be picky about finding ones, especially if you're buying online, that have good photos, because these paper cards with black borders can have a lot of condition issues. And so you don't want to like find an eBay listing where half the cards in a shadow and you can't see the corner. Not even trying to suggest that anyone's doing trickery there. You just want to make sure that you get a really good look at the card and you understand what you're buying. And I have both the Kaprizov and Brock Faber copies in black border because I love this design so much. So
When did you pick up the Kaprizov, Josh?
not too long ago, got on
Really?
eBay.
You never told us. You didn't share it in group chat.
Sometimes I, do a little incognito. Well,
Nice.
Louis, are you on board with this one?
I'm in. I like it.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love o-pee-chee, man.
Yeah, it's good,
What
eh? It's great.
Are you a fan of the black borders and o-pee-chee, Phil?
Big fan. Big fan of everything o-pee-chee.
Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, Louis might not like this one, but the last one I found is the 2023-24 Allure Gold Glitter Bomb out of 199. Last one sold for just $350 US on October 17th. And from like a numbering standpoint, it's sort of like to me, I find this card like a hybrid kind of sort of cousin between the o-pee-chee Platinum Red Prism and the Seismic Gold, right? It's got the gold and Seismic Gold. It's got the little bit higher number, 199, like Red Prism. It is an Allure, which is more of that up and coming set. It's not at the level, of course, that Platinum is at. But if you're talking about, like, I was thinking about this when I saw that this card last sold for $350. I don't know if there's a better buy at that price level of a Bedard rookie that I could think of. I'm not saying I'm right, but I thought for a long time, I thought, what would I rather have than this card for $350? And I honestly, again, a card that I would enjoy, a card that I think will have meaning in the hobby 5-10 years from now and is up and coming and could have a chance to go up in value if he plays really well and people continue to gravitate to Allure. And so again, I'm a big fan of the gold glitter bomb. I loved it right when it came out. I think they keep improving the design.
Yeah.
It's a little maybe over the top at first, but I really like this year. Phil, what do you think of the gold glitter bomb for Bedard?
I will go even further than you, and not necessarily the Bedard card, but the Allure Gold Glitter Bomb is one of my top 3 choices for card of the year, if not the winner. So you throw a Bedard on there, the kid's legit. We know he's legit, but the hype, we all like the hype. That's a beautiful card. I can't believe you saw that for $350. Can't believe that. You got to hold. Good listener, give Allure a chance. I did not until I walked by one of these cards. They're extremely sharp. I think o-pee-chee Platinum should go back to like even more vintage and retro-y, and Allure should just keep stepping up the, I don't know, that futuristic kind of vibe. It's just an incredibly produced card.
Do you guys think this would have been better if you would have been in the red uniform?
No. I like the white.
No.
You like the white?
Yeah. Which should be a home jersey, but these days it's not.
Yeah. No. We're not going to open up that can of worms.
Different day.
So those are the 5 out of under 1,000 that I found. And Phil, you had some honorable mentions that you wanted to bring up quick. So I'll turn over I'll pass the conch to you.
I got some excellent honorable mentions for you, Louis, and you, Josh, and the good listener. The UD Canvas Black Young Guns. You got that up there? Yeah, it's a beauty card. I love that card. And I think it's also a sleeper. The last raw sold for $530 USD on October 19th. Also be careful if you're going to grade that. With Josh said in his previous points, something about the black kind of, well, canvas might be a little easier, might be a little more forgiving, but I find the canvas cards sometimes smush easier. So you might want to be careful there. My second card would be,
Wait, can we talk about that a little bit though? Can we go back? Because this is a very controversial card. So you're in the camp that you like that Upper Deck tried something different with this one.
No, I don't particularly like it. I'm just a black canvas guy, and I don't think you can really see what he's holding that well. I just think that, I think it's a nicer version of a bad idea.
Do you think that over time that, because I do think it happens in the hobby, like where there's cards that at the time they come out are not really seen as like super special. And then all of a sudden 10 years down the road, people have a much better or bigger appreciation for them, or they become a bigger chase. Do you see that happening with this card?
I'm glad you asked these questions. No, I don't. It's just nothing happening in it. There's just nothing happening in this card. Yeah. It's a
so
nice.
Do you want to rescind your honorable mention?
No, it's an honorable mention. Someone else can take it if they want. Okay. I'm not taking it.
All right.
Yeah.
Sure. Think it's a good 530 deal?
Yeah, that seems like a lot of money, eh? 530. Oh.
These are pretty rare though, right? I mean, they're
I don't really know how. I mean, I don't even think I've pulled a black Young Guns. I mean, they're pretty rare, I guess.
We just did. Not bad.
Oh, really? What'd you get, Bubba Louie?
I'll move on to your next card and let you. I'll tell you. How's that?
So my next card will be which I'm also not the biggest fan, but I think they're pretty cool and the right people like them. Is the Beehive Gold Connor Bedard rookie?
Yeah,
throw it up there. Oh yeah, so it's out of 50. I normally would like this card more, but for some reason I don't. I like the black and white in the background. The opacities about 50%. It's the borders on the beehives are really thick, right? So you like the card, or you love it, or you kind of don't. Maybe I'm in the middle.
Well, they're kind of meant to be like picture frames.
Yep.
And what I appreciate about this one versus other beehives that I've seen is like a lot of the beehives that, especially the ones that go back to the Crosby and Ovechkin rookie years, were more portraits. And I'm not a huge portrait guy, so I like the fact that you've got basically from the knee up a full body shot of Bedard in this card. I think the gold foiling helps. Obviously, it's numbered out of 50, and I think too, the more time that's gone on with sets like this or card brands like Beehive, that I think the people that appreciate them the most were the ones that were in the hobby in 2005, 2006, when Bedard was, or not Bedard, when Crosby and Ovechkin were rookies, and it kind of brings you back to that time where I don't know if somebody entering the hobby today really gets the whole Beehive thing.
That's true. That's actually excellent points. I will say this: at one of my LCSs, there's about 20 Beehive cards that are just collecting dust, right? So I think the people that have collected them, and the rest are for everybody else. Next card. Oh, sorry, Louis.
Real quick. I don't remember which one it is. I know I had the regular canvas Young Guns, and I got the black. Josh, it's under your left hand, I think, in a pile that you were gonna send off.
Yeah, I can't. It's some guy we never heard of.
Right.
But it was a black.
But it was black. It was fun. It was cool.
That's cool.
There you go, Philly.
I'm
on board with this one. I'm with you on this one.
My favorite honorable mention is a star rookie e-pack achievement. So we got the 92-93 design, the Upper Deck design. Marty Brodeur, you know the card if I'm talking about it and you're listening. The last raw non-exclusive non-high gloss sold for $89 on October 17th. That's 123 Canadian. I personally bought the exclusive version of this star rookie card, and I got it for so cheap. I'll say I threw the guy a $240 offer, and he took it. I was like,
Canadian or US?
US. It was US.
Wow.
Yeah, I was very happy because I love these cards, and I'm a big exclusive high gloss guy. And if I can slide into the Bedard mania on my budget, why not? I'm not going to find this card in 5 years for $240, probably, unless he breaks his leg or something. Sorry, Connor. I hope you don't. But
at our age, this card hits me all in the hobby feels. Very happy when I see it, and I want one very bad, and I'm ecstatic that it's less than $100. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I I think for me, the Gold Glitter Bomb and this one are the two best value Bedard rookies because I would take one of these in a heartbeat. How about you, Babalouie?
Yep, I love these cards. They're great.
And good listener, take a real hard look at these star rookies that they did last year. There's a Kaprizov, there's a Stutzel, there's Brock Faber. There's a whole. I think there's 25 of them, maybe even 50. Great set. It'll really bring you back.
Are they all pretty super off centered like this?
Yeah,
I think every
they're not the
copy I've
best
seen
cuts.
has had that centering. So I don't know if that is just how all of them were printed. That's one thing I wanted to look into to see if maybe you could find one with a little bit better centering. So that's our picks. There's 8, I think, good options that you could choose from for Connor Bedard rookies under 1,000 US. We do want to hear from you guys, though. If you think of other cards that people should consider, please message us on social media, post in Discord if you're part of our community there, or comment on YouTube. Want to hear your thoughts on that as well. All right, got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. Of course, we are very, very grateful for their support of our show. The current monster Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction ends tonight. Don't sleep on this one. Head post haste, whatever that means, to slabsharks.com to see how many of the more than 3,500 cards available this week could be maybe your next PC candidates. Phil's known to splurge. Maybe he'll buy them all. We'll have to see.
The cards coming into Slab Sharks in the last month are just amazing. It's crazy. I love seeing
they're so nice.
Just the variety of the cards in here now.
You know what I like? I like those downtown cards. Those football downtown cards. I wish they had them for hockey, something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there you go. Diamond.
Is that a PSA 9?
Yep.
Under 1,000 US still right now, right? Yeah, still a little bit of time left on that
hold
one.
on.
Canadian.
That's Canadian, bud. I gotta change mine here if you want.
That's what I said. It's under 1,000 US.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Great card. Go get it.
It's a Bedard o-pee-chee Premier Diamond Rainbow that we just talked about.
I'm not here for my brains. Sorry, guys.
Well, with all the new hockey sets out in the start of the season, you know, like Louis was saying, these Slab Sharks auctions have been pretty incredible. And if you're a Canadian hockey cards collector, we'd recommend considering Slab Sharks for their eBay consignment services. And don't just take our word for it. Check out this testimonial I saw on an Instagram story for show follower and friend Doghouse Hockey Cards. This is pretty crazy. He says, just shipped off a box of 112 cards to Slab Sharks. Such an easy process. And then he gives our good buddies Sylvain and Jeremy Lee a shout out, as they're both Slab Shark reps too. So yeah, again, they have a very easy submission process. You can send cards in bulk, like more than 100, like Doghouse has, and it's a pretty easy peasy. So that's kind of the point of their whole service, right? They make it easy to sell your cards on eBay. They make the entire process feel simple. All you got to do is send them in through either their online submission system or go see Sylvain at a card show or Jeremy and drop them off at another one of their reps. And then, as a bonus, your cards get included in one of the biggest and most popular weekly auctions in the entire hockey hobby. So for complete consignment info and to start the process today, head to slabsharks.com. Happy news!
Happy news!
Hobby Nea. There you go.
Wow.
Wow.
Done. Yeah, Bobby helped me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
Challenge Phil, like about 6,000 years ago now, to say happy news in a foreign language. And that was Greek, I assume.
Yeah, well, there's no real word for hobby in Greek, so I just say it with a Greek accent, and then news in Greek is Nea. So hobby Nea.
Hobby Nea.
Yeah.
Now, next one. Write this down. It's your homework.
Oh, okay.
Japanese.
Come on, man. I could probably do that. You know what? I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm writing it down.
Ni hao.
Yourself, Phil.
Japanese. No, my neighbor's
Konnichiwa.
Japanese. I'll ask her. Yeah, man.
Konnichiwa.
That's
All right,
hello, I think.
All right, just one kind of quick story that I just wanted to mention is we're excited to share the announcement from a few days ago that the NHL/Fanatics/Lululemon are collabing to bring NHL licensed clothing under the stylish and trendy Lululemon brand. I don't want to talk too much, though. Instead, I'll turn it over to our Gongshow fashion correspondent, Babalouie, for this report. Babalouie, what do you have to say about this groundbreaking news.
I can't wait to have an excuse to go into Lululemon with my daughter now.
That was another Baba Louie Hobby hot take.
Yeah, Phil, you haven't had the teenage girl experience of going and spending $200 on a pair of sweatpants at Lululemon. So
Yeah, but you can talk to other shoppers at Lululemon while your family is shopping.
they have like a couch that you can sit and stare at your phone. Believe me, I've done that on many occasions. Now, if the NHL and Fanatics and Lululemon added Starbucks to this collab, I think every girl in America's head would explode.
And residents of Ottawa.
Starbucks is big in Ottawa too.
Yeah, Starbucks is big here.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, I didn't read all the details. I think it comes out on October 29th. I did learn though, Phil, that I didn't know Lululemon was a Canadian company.
What? It is? I didn't know that either.
That's what it said.
Are you
That they're
sure?
a Canadian clothing manufacturer.
I thought they're from Switzerland or something.
That's what the Fanatics release said. I don't know.
Well, that's cool. Is
Maybe I'm
that
wrong.
one of my questions? I wouldn't have known that.
No.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah. All jokes aside, I think it's a good move, right? Anything that helps make hockey like a little bit trendy, right?
Exposure.
Relatable to younger people, I think is very, very cool. I'm sure these sweatshirts are going to be about $6,000. So, we'll have that to look forward to. I don't know, Bob Louie, do you plan on rocking any Lululemon hoodies, NHL hoodies in the near future?
Not for what I'm thinking is going to be a low cost of maybe 200, 175 for one of these suckers. No,
yeah, but what if it feels like, hey, man, it's
never going to feel that way.
No?
No.
Have you ever wore? Well, I've never really worn. I think they make Lululemon clothes for men normally, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Have you guys ever tried any?
No.
No, me neither.
I think I had a shirt once.
Was it
know.
comfy?
Yeah, but
Well,
it's mostly though a brand. I mean, their value is not in the quality of their clothing; it's in the trendiness of the brand. Like I know, like when my daughter goes, she wants to get the little Lululemon bag. Like that's like the most important thing. It's not even the purchase, right? Because that's how kids are susceptible to brands and wanting to identify and associate with brands that they think are cool. Which again, I'll go back to why I like this move for the NHL, even though I'm sure you'll find this very shocking that I'm not in the Lululemon core demographic. But good move on, whether it's NHL or Fanatics that's spearheading this. I like it.
Yeah,
that's
good for
probably
them.
news.
It'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Not much going on. So we're going to move on to chapter 6. Very excited about this, of Confessions of a Hockey Card Dealer. It's been about a month since we checked in with our favorite hockey card dealer, Sylvain Cormier. So again, we were excited the other day to get the chance to talk to him about his recent exploits, ups and downs in our Confessions of a Card Dealer series. Phil even watched it today so that he can participate in the conversation recap. I think what makes this whole bit work so well for us is Sylvain has really agreed to be honest, to tell the good, the bad, and the ugly of what life of a card dealer is. And so far, it's been, rave reviews from people. And I think what we constantly hear is people like the level of detail that he's willing to go into. So many people want to talk about stuff like this in very vague terms that is kind of annoying. I find a lot when I'm on the other end of that, because I want to know what the details are. Again, and so we're really happy that so many people have liked it. With that, we hope you all enjoy chapter 6 of Confessions of a Card Dealer. Where does that music come from?
It's always here when he shows up.
Are you a wizard in Moncton, Sylvain? Is that the story?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. It just seems to follow me around and I get a chuckle. I'm just constantly laughing all the time because that song makes me laugh and it follows me everywhere. So,
well, we're very excited to welcome back Sylvain Cormier to chapter 6 already. Chapter 6. of Confessions of a Card Dealer. That's pretty cool. And I'm kind of happy we're at this point because we're able to get into it. Most people that have followed the show, I think, have gotten to know you by now, understand the life stage you're at, where you very recently taken the plunge. That was sort of the headline.
The
of our
foundation
last-
is set.
the foundation set for you to make this really your full-time gig as a professional hockey cards dealer. And there should be a lot to talk about today because you've been all over the country of Canada
I have.
these past few weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start in Montreal at the Montreal Expo. So maybe give us an overall kind of. Oh no, we're not going to start there. I'm sorry. We got to start with the Zach Hyman update.
Sure.
So where are we at in the whole Zach Hyman journey of the collection you bought and have sold or not sold, or where are you at?
Right. Well, thanks for asking. And yeah, I think that's a great way to start. All Zach Hyman cards have officially been moved as of last week.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Oh boy.
So,
Can I stop you there for a minute? Given that he literally has no points, are you breathing a big sigh of relief at that? That you don't have to sweat like a slow start? Because that would.
When I bought them, I wasn't planning on speculating. I didn't even keep any. Like I had them all for sale as soon as I bought them, or like some I graded, some I didn't grade. Were already graded. So the raw stuff that I graded and the 9.5s that I cracked and graded, I wasn't grading them to hold them. Like this was very much a 3 to 4 month flip for me. Whether that opportunity came, at the end of May, had it been February, January, any month, my game plan would have been 3 to 4 months, I think, regardless of when I bought them. So hanging on to them for longer than that just wasn't part of my. So even if he was like, if he had 20 points right now, I'd still be happy with where I was at. But yeah, I guess 0 points. I guess it makes me feel safer, I guess, or that, okay, my 4-month plan, what I stuck to it, and so far it's paid off. So
I think it's an indication that you've learned, right? And I'm just interpreting from all of our conversations to date that the Sylvain of the past, which would have been the Josh of the past too. So this is not me making any judgments, would have bought this collection and been like, we had 50 goals last year. He's playing with McDavid and Draisaitl. He's going to have another 50 goals. I'm going to sell him right before the playoffs and double my money, triple my money, quadruple my money. Yeah. I'm so smart. But then he would be 2 weeks in the season with 0 points, and I'd be panicking at that point. Where, as we've talked about, right, the name of this game is in and out. Get in and get out.
Yep, it sure is. And I think I might have mentioned this last episode or one of the episodes, but the Dunning-Kruger effect, where you come into something with a fresh set of eyes, but you think you're an expert right out of the gate. That's very common in the hobby. And this isn't to insult. It's a rite of passage. I'm not trying to. Everyone who has, who's been in the hobby for years has gone through this. Whether you came in the hobby because you wanted to flip or you just wanted to collect or whatever, you probably likely thought that you were more of an expert than you actually were, and that you're being humbled day by day as you're more exposed to the market and the hobby.
So do you have like a final tally? Like, how did you do on this this one deal?
So this is probably my most successful flip. I'm very happy. I had some bad ones, but this will offset the bad ones. My percentage gain is about 90%.
Nice.
After everything is said and done, I don't have an exact percentage, but it's around 90%. So which I'm happy. It's almost.
And do you factor in like grading costs and other associated costs with that?
Yes, with grading cost and shipping costs for certain cards that I sold, on Facebook, on the Facebook groups. Those yes. So any cost I've had, my profits are around 85 to 90% is around. my number.
How many different sources or places did you have to sell these cards? Like, was it did you just sell like all of them on eBay, or did you say no? I had to kind of sell some at shows, sell some on Facebook, sell some on eBay, whatnot.
Great question. I think I've mentioned this when I was like halfway through my, selling them all. I've brought them at shows. I've posted some on Facebook. I want to say I might have sold one card at a show. I want to say over 90% of them were auctioned off on eBay through Slab
Okay.
Sharks. The
Nice.
rest,
Oh,
I
good.
moved a few on Facebook, maybe
Yep.
one at shows, and the rest were auctioned off. It's funny. I find there are certain players that at a show, it's gone. Like a Jack Hughes PSA 10.
Yeah.
I know if I buy one before the show, it'll be gone by the next show. And that's always the case. But with Zach Hyman, I got way more than my sticker prices on, more than half of the cards I auctioned off by auctioning them on eBay. I think I'm starting to learn. I think it's player specific too. Like it's very
Yep.
odd. Yeah.
You have to understand the market to the details like that. Well, so speaking of shows though, now let's get into Montreal. So you're at Montreal a few weeks ago now.
Was.
And maybe let's just start with the overall vibe of the show experience. How was it compared to other ones? That sort of thing.
So it was, I want to say it was similar to the April one, but a lot busier. Especially the Saturday. Carey Price and Teemu Selanne were there to sign autographs. The Saturday was completely packed. And to be honest, I was so busy. I was one guy at the booth, and I was selling my cards and taking Slab Sharks consignments that whole weekend. I think there was constantly, at least I would say 90% of the time, there were 3 people at my table.
Wow.
Oh no, that's
So
crazy.
I had a hard time taking in the show because it is the hardest I've ever grinded in a short amount of time.
Yep.
It was those 3 days. So it was tough to take in the experience. I took in a lot more in Vancouver, which we can talk about later. But in terms of the show in Montreal, I was just focusing on the next customer, next customer, next customer, next customer. So
What were people
I
looking
was
for
extremely
there? So like, was
Um,
there certain players? I'm sure like a lot of Canadians players, but was there anyone in particular that was unique to Montreal where you're like, wow, everyone wants this guy?
You'd think I was expecting more people looking for Habs players. I didn't have, as much Habs players as other vendors. I had some Caulfields and Slavkovskys. I moved a few, not as much as I thought, but Bedard, like,
Sure.
but yeah, Bedard moved
Who?
super easily. Yeah,
Never heard of him. You good?
I had so I came in with 4 raw young guns, and I acquired 2 more during the show, and they were all gone by Sunday.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, so those moved. Wyatt Johnson also moved very well.
I had one of those once.
Yeah, you did. I'm pretty sure you sold it to me. And I want to say Bedard and Wyatt Johnson is where I feel.
Okay.
And of course, Makar. People are always looking for Makar.
Well, here we are though. Now thinking 2 weeks later, Series 1 was not out in Montreal during the Montreal Expo, but now you have Lane Hudson, who's kind of the big chase from the Canadians out of Series 1. And, it's revisionist history to kind of like think, well, how would that have played at the Expo? But I'm sure he would have been very, very popular if the Series 1 had come out a week before that instead of 2 weeks after. But I do want to mention it, though, just because I'm curious. Do you pay attention to that where it's like, okay, here's a new name that's capturing a ton of interest? And, what could or should I be looking for Lane Hudson opportunities, etc.? Or are you just more going to let the steam kind of evaporate on that and maybe look at it later?
Great question. And I think I would have approached it one way a year ago. And now my answer is both. I think a year ago I'd been like, okay, I'm going to let the steam die down on this and then move it. But now my approach is like, okay, I might, if I have a good opportunity, I might take it and move it right away. But I'm not necessarily looking. I'm not going to make
Sure.
a post and buying late Hudsons, but if I'm set
Yeah.
up at a table and someone has some late Hudsons and he's willing to make a deal that's fair, I'll get in and out of that, like, before the steam dies off. But if, so yes, I do pay attention. They're on my radar. I'm
Mhm.
not dead set on acquiring them right away. But in 2-3 months when the steam dies off and when there are people selling e-packs version, I love buying on e-packs. I love buying singles on e-packs. So when there are e-packs versions for sale, I'll probably get a few and ship them home to get them graded. But the good thing about e-packs is that it comes out once the steam has died off.
Right.
So that's mainly where my timing will be. That's when I'll be actively looking for it, is once it comes out on e-packs and the steam's died off. But if I get an opportunity to be in and out of something quick, I'll take it.
Sure.
I'm just not hunting for it.
Did you have any deals in Montreal, good or bad, that stand out to you now that you've had some time to reflect on it?
Yeah, most of the ones that stand out are bad.
Oh no!
Like
What?
the ones that stand out are bad. I've had oh my god, I should have I should have counted. I still have them on my notes. That's another thing when you're doing cards full time, you can take notes, but you need to put those notes in your spreadsheet. And if you're traveling all the time, you need to dedicate time to putting that data entry. So I've yet to put the data in. I still have them on my notes. I've only been back for 2 days, and I've had quite a lot, to do on a personal level, and even catching up with all the messages. And so I'm just checking my notes quickly. I think I moved. I don't want to say easily. I think I made 75 to 90 deals. Like,
Wow.
yeah, easily. Whether they were, part trade, part cash, whether they were trades, whether they were sales, whether it was me buying, I made anywhere between 75 and 90 deals.
So how's that bad then?
So the ones that stand out, most of them are 15 to 20% profit, which I'm happy with. But
Sure.
I didn't, last episode or 2 episodes ago, I said I only trade for Future Watch Autos and Young Guns. I broke my rule. And I feel I'm less hard on my rule when the season starts over. I'm a little rusty. I haven't been to shows in a while. And I was so busy with both taking consignments and customers that sometimes I would say yes to deals that was more like, okay, I need to serve this next person in line, and less about, okay, how am I going to make money here? And I think, there were 2 or 3 4-figure trades, and those are the ones that I often lose on, is when I trade a big Future Watch Auto, for example, a Future Watch Auto Pasternak PSA 10 for like 2 Future Watch Autos, and like a Makar Yellow Taxi PSA 10. The last comp was 350. But so when I do that, when that happens, the reason I know, I say, oh, it's a big loss. Anytime I take something on trade where I'm not sure where the value is, I immediately auction it. Like, okay, we both of us weren't sure what the value is. We settled on a number. My gut's telling me that I overpaid. I auction it immediately, and then I have my answer. Some people might say, oh, well, you should try to sell it and maximize. I still want to know what the market value is, and I'm paying for these lessons. But the more this happens, the more I'm going to be like, okay, Sylvain, you have to stick to your guns. This is your life. Like, it's my livelihood now. I can't just please people. So there were 3 or 4 4-figure deals where I didn't lose. It wasn't like that Matthews trade where I lost like $600 or $700, but I probably, out of 3 or 4 deals, the 4-figure deals, I probably lost anywhere between $200 and $400 each. So, I want to say my total loss there is probably like around $800 or $900. But with the other 50 or 60 sales I got at a 15 to 20% profit, it definitely makes up for it. But yeah, it's
lesson learned. Well, that relates for me for 2 reasons, and I'll tell you why. The first is I look at a lot of sales and a lot of data. And I've definitely noticed, like, when you see like a Bedard Yellow Taxi, very cool card, right? Not a bad card. But cards like that compared to a Young Guns or a Future Watch Auto that sell all the time, you'll see it'll sell for $350 and it'll sell for 190, then it'll sell for 400, then it'll sell for 270. They're just kind of all over the place. And it depends on, because there isn't maybe enough of an established market. And then the other thing that really resonated with me is when I was fresh out of college, I got a sales job and I wanted to be really successful. And I thought, well, I'm going to work harder than everyone else. I'm going to make 100 calls a day. That's like my minimum. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to grind. And what I found was I really lost sight of the forest through the trees with that goal, because I would be on the phone with the prospective client and I would be looking at the conversation or the clock during our conversation, and it would be going long. And I would find myself rushing through that conversation because I'm like, we're talking so long, I'm not going to get my 100 calls in. And then at some point, either like my manager or a mentor or something like that pointed out to me that it's like, when you have somebody in front of you that is interested enough to talk to you to do a deal, you have to be very myopic about that. That should be the only thing in the world that you're thinking of. And it doesn't matter if there's 7 people waiting in line. You know, forget that those people exist, because, you know, the guy behind the person you're talking to that's trying to do a deal, he might just be wanting to ask you where the bathroom is. Right. And so,
Right.
you know, it might not be. And so I learned that lesson. And it sounds like you're kind of learning that lesson too, that even in a chaotic environment where there's being a lot thrown at you, you have to put all of your focus on what's in front of you when it comes to making a deal, because if you don't, then you start to make mistakes, right?
Very true. Very true. I'm grateful that, the mistakes are affecting my bottom line, and it's not a mistake where I'll mix up a slab shark submission. Like that. I think I would torture myself over way more than
Sure.
an $800 loss, an average, something like that. So a lot of my energy went towards taking in consignments, and I had like maybe 2 consignments and then 3 deals and then 3 consignments and then 2 deals. So but yes, I was very conscious of the people waiting, and I think that I did myself a disservice. And I was also like, by the time Sunday, I think most of my bad deals were by the end of day Saturday, or yes, because
When you
actually
were
Sunday
mentally fatigued.
yes, yes. End of day Saturday, actually, come to think of it, because Sunday I made the decision to not sell any cards, only takes consignments, because I was, mentally fatigued. And I was like, okay, some vendors are going to come see me. And Sunday was the day I took in the most consignments. So I was like, I'm glad. But some people came to see me and they were like, oh, can we make a trade? I'm like, I'm not making deals today. I'm only taking consignments. And I, and I said I made a few bad 4-figure deals. It could have been more had I kept them up. So I've realized that what you just said, where you really have to pay attention to the one person in front of you, and that's it. The rest is all noise in that moment.
Another question I have is, so I'm kind of thinking about these deals you're describing, and I've struggled with this too, you know, more so on like a PC level. But as a dealer, do you find that, or is there a better strategy when trading versus like trading up versus trading down? Like, do you find that you typically do better in one scenario versus the other?
I tend to do better when I'm trading down. If I have
Really?
a $2,000 card, I would trade my $2,000 card for $2,000 worth of Jack Hughes Young Gun PSA 10s.
Oh,
Any day.
because $2,000 cards are harder to sell than
Yes.
a
Yes.
$250 card kind of idea.
Depends on the show, but yes. So it does depend on the show, and it depends on the player. But your question, yeah, I when I've traded up a few times,
Mhm.
I've traded up to like some big cards that didn't have comps. Last comps were in 2022, and it's really hard to land on a price. And every time I do, I find the people who have the high end cards, they're gonna beat me with experience because they've worked their way up to those high end cards. Most people, and they have experience, and they're, you know, I've gotten eaten alive a few times when I
Yeah.
traded up.
Well,
And
as you're talking though, I'm sitting here thinking that this might be, you know, think of like a hobby ecosystem, or to use some kind of cliched term like that, where the dealer and personal collector relationship can actually fit together nicely.
Mhm.
That I think most PC people are trying to trade up, right? They're trying to take some littler cards that they have to get more a prized possession for their PC, and they're not trying to resell it,
Right.
so they're not worried about the
Yes.
difficulty in doing that. Where
Right.
if what you're saying, you know, is true, and of course it probably is, that boy, if I have 3 Jack Hughes Young Guns and I can convert them into $1,000 PC card, and in the at the same token give you 3 cards that are way easier to sell
Yeah.
than this $1,000 card, that's kind of a win-win scenario.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm with you all the way. The one thing that your question makes me realize that I had actually made a conscious decision like the other day is that I am priced to sell, and I need to start telling people this is my
Trade
cash
value.
sticker price.
Yeah.
Trade value wise, if you're going to overvalue your stuff by 10%, well, I'm not going to trade my,
Yeah.
you know, this card that I have stickered at $1,800. The last comp's probably 1,900. So I'm not going to trade it for $1,800 worth of cards. It doesn't make sense to me. This is what I want in cash. So I need to start articulating that to people who want to trade.
Well, I think that'd be easy, Savannah. You could just say, I want, I'll take 1,800 cash, but it's 2,000 trade, right? And then that at
Yes.
least creates the expectation. And then I wonder too if maybe that's not a better strategy when you have like a high end card, and you tell me, but I'm just thinking out loud here. And instead of maybe auctioning it and rolling the dice that the right buyer is, maybe it's like, well, maybe I'll take this to a big show as a trader and try to convert it into, instead of hoping to get the $2,000 for the $2,000 card, if I could
Right.
get 8 Jack Hughes Young Guns for this, then
Right.
that's actually a much safer way to get the money I'm looking for.
That's not a bad idea. And I want to say that most of the cards that I auction off right away are the cards where I have this feeling, like I've had them in my display, and I have a feeling that no one's going to want to buy it, you know, at the sticker price for that I even paid for it. So
Yeah.
it's usually to test my own theory, and I'm right. I'm like, okay, Sylvain, you need to listen to your gut a little bit more. But yes, I do agree that like sometimes, especially when I have several shows in a row, I could have waited, you know, a couple of those cards that I auctioned off. I could have waited to for the Toronto show before auctioning them off. Um, I think I really wanted to see what the actual value was at that point in time. So that might be, you know, I might be I might be doing a disservice to myself by doing that. But it's like my way of seeing if my gut was right, and it
Yeah.
usually is right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do you ever do like story sales on Instagram or anything like that?
I do not. But now that I'm doing cards full time, I might consider it. I think I have actually. I was so busy at the Slab Sharks booth that in Montreal that I've had people reach out either by email or through Instagram. Hey, I wanted to stop by your booth, but you were so busy that I didn't have time to wait. So that kind of touches on, you know, earlier when you say if you focus the people waiting, that was a great point. It's like the people who can't wait, they're just going to reach out to me later anyway. If they really want to figure something out, if they really want to work with me, they'll reach out to me somehow.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to Van City. So what was it, a week after Montreal? Then you end up in Vancouver for the inaugural Van City Card Show. So I want to start with just your general thoughts on the show and the experience.
This one was way easier to take in for me because I was there with the whole Slab Sharks team. They had a huge booth
Gotcha.
and, taking consignment, buying, offering tag grading. There was a lot of moving parts at that booth. And I was one of those moving parts where I wasn't a one-man show. So I could take breaks. I could walk. I could go see vendors. So I was able to take that in a lot more than the Montreal show. I want to say in terms of location, it's the best show I've ever been to. Like, it's right downtown Vancouver, right by the water. There's mountains. The convention center is beautiful. There's tons of natural light. It was the best venue I've ever been to at a show, for sure. I haven't been to the National. I'm not, that's on my radar for sure. But in terms of Canadian shows, best venue ever. The Saturday was very busy. Brett the Hitman Hart was there to sign autographs. It was quite busy. It was here in Canada. It was Thanksgiving weekend. So the Sunday was Thanksgiving. So the Sunday was a little bit slower. And the partners did say, like, we kind of expected that, but that was, the weekend that was available to us for that venue. Now that we have a rapport with the venue, hopefully we can have a better date that's not on a long weekend. But also one thing that surprised me is, like, I want to say there was way less hockey there than most shows. It was Pokemon and TCGs, like Magic,
Huge.
Blowing up.
Was huge. Like,
you're on the Seattle, Vancouver area. There's a large, like Japanese population, and so that's a big part of the culture. Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about because I'm really curious. You don't hear about, because it's probably the West Coast thing, Sylvain, but the hobby community in the Vancouver area, like, and just from a hockey sense, were you surprised or excited by the amount of hockey collectors, disappointed by the amount of hockey collectors that attended? Like, how do you describe the hockey community there?
I certainly wasn't I certainly wasn't disappointed. I was surprised. It is a little bit lower than I thought, but there were still a lot of people asking for basketball, football. Like, there were a lot of multi-sports. Like, it almost felt like a show in the States. I say, I've never actually been to one, but from what I hear about people who go to shows to the States, it almost felt like that. And like you mentioned, Seattle's not that far. Richard explained that there are, some communities, like some European communities, a lot of European communities in Vancouver. So a lot of them are into soccer. So he kind of broke down why it was like that. And it made a lot of sense once he broke it down, but I was expecting more hockey. I only brought a showcase worth of cards. I probably brought 25 cards, and like half of them were Vancouver Canucks. I had a couple Future Watch autos of Quinn Hughes, a couple Young Guns. Those all moved, obviously.
Was he the big guy there, or was it more like the Bedard kind of deal, like within Montreal?
It's funny. McDavid was a big deal too in Vancouver. So McDavid and Quinn Hughes. I didn't make as many transactions, but I want to say Quinn Hughes was probably like the one I sold the most. But I had run out of Bedards by then, so I can't really gauge that. And but I did move, and all the transactions were cash. Nobody wanted to trade, which I was happy with.
Well, that's like music to your ears, right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Were you able, having these back to back, were you able to do sort of a post-mortem analysis on Montreal and some of those, like, the wins, the losses, and adjust your strategy going into Vancouver? Did that change how you executed in Vancouver at all?
A little bit, but like I said, like my showcase, I was at my showcase maybe 20% of the time. I wasn't there often. It was helping with other moving parts. And I brought 10% of my inventory there. Like, it was really just this showcase of, I said maybe 30 cards. I think looking back, it's actually like 18 or 20 cards. It wasn't a lot. And I moved like 9 or 10 of them. So, So, but yes, like I was digesting, what if someone came to me with a trade offer, how I would say it. It just the opportunity didn't come. Like it was,
Yeah.
so I'll have to use that for Toronto. Everyone was paying cash in Vancouver, so people were, vendors were happy, I feel. But I did learn in Vancouver, specifically in Vancouver, there are people who I'm assuming this is a side thing. I don't think they do this full time, but they'll, show up with, $10,000 in their pocket and like a 30 card case, and they will, buy from a vendor that's priced to sell, and then they'll
Sure.
sell it to a vendor that's overpriced. And they, they might they might pocket $100 in the process. So it's a vendor to vendor deal without any of the vendors realizing it.
It's like
And
an instant flip. It's like buying a car on one car lot and driving it across the street and selling it, right?
absolutely. And I had a little theory. I did a little experiment, and it was tempting for me to do this. I had 3 PSA 10 Young Gun Quinn Hughes, like I mentioned. The
Mhm.
first day I didn't sell them. So by Saturday, I still had them. And I noticed mine were priced at 225 Canadian, maybe 220 Canadian. Comps were around 230. I saw a vendor that also had a bunch of Canucks cards, and he had his PSA 10 Young Gun Quinn Hughes at 270 Canadian. And he also had cards that I've seen someone buy from one vendor and then sell to that vendor. So I took the sticker off of my Young Guns, my PSA 10 Young Guns. I asked him, what would you pay for these? And he offered me $5 less than my bottom price. It was tempting to say yes to it, but I felt like there was so little margin. If he bought it at that price, yes, he'd sticker it at 270, which is over comps, but no one's gonna make him an offer because he's way over comps, and he's gonna get stuck with this. He might get stuck with it, and then it blows up, and then he can get his 270. But if he has 10 of them, it's not gonna move. I almost felt like telling him, listen, dude, here is the strategy but I'm like, you know what? He's busy. And this is something you kind of need to learn on your own. You can't just have someone tell you and then it'll sink. It really sinks in when, when you're in the weeds and when you're experiencing things. So for me to tell someone, and that's what works for me. It might, he might have a completely different approach. He might have a ton of capital that he can, afford to park. And so everyone's different, right? But I did feel that he was relatively newer and that he will have to learn the hard way. I didn't end up selling. I did not sell him those when he was young.
What did you end up getting for them? If you had them
So
stickered at
you know what's funny? I had them at 220, and by Sunday they hadn't moved. So I priced them at 235, and someone said, "How much for one?" I said 210. He said, "Deal." And then that happened 3 times in a row.
There you go.
I was
Buyer
like, okay,
psychology, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny. My bottom was 200. I would have been happy with 200, but so at 220, I was way less likely to get 210 with a 220 sticker.
Yeah.
I do think when you sticker to sell, you have to adjust your negotiation and you have to explain to the buyer, look, I'm priced to sell. This is below comp. I'm going to take, I'll take $10 off, sure. But people love the idea of a deal. They love
everybody
the idea
wants
of
a deal, so man, everybody wants a deal.
So
they want to feel like they won the negotiation, right?
Yeah.
So I got a question on going out to Vancouver then. It might be from a dealer perspective, and it might be as easy as you saying you had more commitment with maybe Slab Sharks out there. What was your thought process of only bringing that handful 18, 20 cards out there to try to move?
So essentially working, I'd made an arrangement with Slab Sharks that I wasn't necessarily there to sell cards, but I could display a few, but I'd mainly be there to help with what they needed on the spot. So
got it.
So it wasn't necessarily,
it wasn't a Sylvain table out there.
Right. But yes, exactly. But also like knowing that the Toronto show was coming, I probably would have made that decision myself or close to that type of decision anyway.
Got
So
it.
I might have brought in 2 showcases worth instead of just 1, you know. But I don't want to move too much before Toronto. Toronto's when the big networks and the big deals happen. So I don't necessarily want to, you know, have too much cash and
Right.
not enough cards by the time
Got it.
Toronto.
Yep, makes sense.
Okay, yeah. Well, now I want to spend the last few minutes talking about the expo because that is coming up. And I think the next time we'll talk to you for chapter 7, we'll probably be on the show floor of the expo.
Yeah,
But I would assume, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that right now you're kind of in expo prep mode. Is that a good assumption?
Yes, it is.
What
A
does
good
that look
assumption.
like?
So I'm in both, you know, post-travel cool down mode where I need to put in, you know, all my numbers on a spreadsheet. I've also, like, you know, I had a bunch of clothes that I had to wash and put away. So, you know,
Sure.
that aren't hobby related. I had stuff to do. So I did end up buying a lot of 99 PSA graded Young Guns and Future Watch Autos. Like, I committed to buying them. I sent the guy the money, and we you know, he actually, it was a really close friend of mine, my future business partner. He showed me what the grades were. He's like, "What are you willing to pay for it?" While I was in Montreal, I took out my spreadsheet. I made him an offer. We agreed. I paid him, and then when I came back, the day after I came back, the cards showed up. They showed up yesterday, so I picked them up.
Nice.
So when I make a spreadsheet like that, I show comps on one side, and then I show what I'm willing to pay on the other side. So that way, I already know what my sticker is going to be. My sticker is going to
Yep.
be what I put on the spreadsheet when I bought it. So to answer your question, what that's going to look like for this time, it's not going to be as intense as other times because I already have so much inventory priced.
Yeah.
I'm going to price these 99 cards. I have a small show here in Moncton on Saturday. I almost don't want to bring too many cards because, you know, I want to save some for Toronto. But so getting those stickered and updating my records so I have what sold and what inventory I have, what I
Mhm.
paid for each card, so I'm ready on the floor and I can, you know, I can assess the best deals when I have that data.
Yep.
Well, this is like the Fall Expo is like your Super Bowl, right?
Hmm.
Yes,
I would
yes,
Kind
think
of.
so.
exactly.
So do you have a goal for the show? Like what for this to be a success? What would that look like?
That's a really good question. Honestly, and I'm breaking out of this phase, but most expos, so all expos up until now, my goal was just to learn as much as I could.
Yeah.
I am breaking out of this phase where I should start putting concrete goals.
Mhm.
For Montreal Expo, my goal was to take in X amount of consignments for Slab Sharks, and I knocked that. I
Nice.
almost doubled my goal, so I'm very happy with that. But in terms of like as a vendor selling cards, I guess honestly, if there's one thing I could do and be proud of, would be to be more firm, like learn to be more firm,
Sure.
stick to my guns, and only not saying yes to deals that I don't have a good gut feeling about. I think if I can go through the entire expo without saying yes to a deal that I don't have a good gut feeling on, I'll take that as a win. I don't have a monetary goal. I don't have it's really
Should you?
I don't think so.
Well, you got to eat though. I
Um
mean, that's the problem. That this is not like for a lot of us, this is a hobby. For
yeah.
you, you gotta pay your rent, and so I'm just curious because I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. It's like, well, maybe let me ask the question this way: If you, what's the? I know all money's or more money's better, but what's like the most realistic? Do you think like good outcome? Like, should you walk away with the expo with 2,000 in profit, 5,000 in profit, 10,000 in profit? I mean, it's the biggest show.
Right. I do think realistically, if I end up moving everything, and I would like to reset my inventory
Yeah.
before the new year, and I think this is a really good time. So whatever I'm not selling, I'll likely auction off. I do think realistically, and this isn't necessarily a goal, but I think, well, I could put it as a goal, but I think everything I sell, the inventory that I have right now is worth a certain amount. I don't have the exact number. I had the exact number
Sure.
before Montreal, but I don't have the exact number. The quick math that I did in my head, if I move everything at the Toronto Expo, including auctioning off what I don't sell, I think I should have anywhere between $7,000 and $12,000 in profit.
Okay.
So
Do you know like what a like? I'm not saying like a card shop like Klutz and Char or Mint Ink or something like that, but like just a guy who sets up at like what are the most successful dealers make at the expo? Do you have any idea?
That's a really good question. I don't necessarily know what they make, but I learn what their moves are.
Okay.
They don't necessarily tell me what they make, but they'll share not necessarily their secrets, but
You won't let us
I
audit
observe
their
them.
books for the sake of it's for the show.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for the sake of the show. That yeah, that's not a bad
I have a forensic accountant. I'd love to look at your books for the show.
idea. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Okay, so then let's finish with this. Describe to me, what are 3 things that you want to do to make this the best expo to date for Sylvain Cormier Inc. hockey card dealer?
Well, to make it the best expo, I do need to grind a bit, but I also want to balance it with hanging out with my boys in at the podcast booth at the chateau. So I think it's going to be, the number one is going to find the balance. I think I'm fortunate that I can set up at the Slab Sharks booth. So if
Yeah.
I need to take an hour to go and hang out at the podcast booth, I can do that. I couldn't afford to do that in Montreal, but here I'll be able to do that. So just put a be right back sign or
Yep.
just put my inventory down until I'm back. So there's that, the balance. Another thing is, just making sure I stick to my gut feeling.
Yeah.
That's another big thing. And yeah, I guess just having fun at the rip party, which is kind of close to
What's that?
interesting. But yeah,
Never heard of it.
there's this
Rip party.
this
Rip party.
rip party.
Everybody's going.
I've heard rumors.
Yeah. So I think really though, like the main thing, the 2 main things are sticking to my gut feelings when I'm making a transaction and balancing the business and the fun. I know it's going to be like 80% business, 20% fun, but I don't want it to be 100% business and 0% fun. So I'm willing
It's event.
to.
Let's make the business fun, and then it's just
Yes.
all fun. There we go.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Well, dude, it seems like it's been a couple of very exciting weeks, and
absolutely.
per usual. And this is why I think a lot of people love our conversations. Why I love them is there's the wins, there's the losses, and that's just life in general. Nobody wins all the
Right.
time, and so again, we appreciate your continued your willingness to come
Sure.
on and be open and honest about this. And the next time we catch up, we'll be live from the Slab Sharks recording studio on the floor
Yeah, I'm really
of the
excited.
Toronto Sport Card Expo. But Baba Louie, any closing questions? You're gonna come in with the heat, the tough ones.
I do got one.
All right.
As a dealer, you call it turnover. I'll call it turnover, where you want to move what you got to get it out of there. Can you do that in Toronto? Are you planning on buying cards? Or do you want to extinguish what you got first before you take on more?
So I will bring a small float. Like I think 5K is a very small float to buy compared to other vendors. I
Sure.
should have about 5K cash to spend on like maybe the Thursday and Friday. But come Sunday, I won't necessarily be buying. So yes, if the right deal comes to my table, or if on the Thursday I'm walking around and I see a fellow vendor that I have a good rapport with and we come to an agreement, I'm okay spending, the Thursday or Friday. And even sometimes it'll be like someone wants to trade, but they want cash in return. like it's a trade where it's part cash, part trade, but I'm the one giving the cash because the card they have is worth more than what they want out of my inventory.
Mhm.
I'll do those on Thursdays and Friday, on the Thursday and Friday, but maybe early Saturday, but definitely not the Sunday. Unless the Jack Hughes say 10 Young Guns. That's the theme of the show today. It's those. If you can get your hands on those, you'll move them super quick.
Lions, the Tigers, and Bears. Oh my, Jack Hughes, PSA 10 Young Guns. You know, when you mention like the 5K being a small float, I'm sure you guys have had this experience too, but I always get a chuckle. Like if you go to a booth and let's say you just want to buy like like a $50 card. And so you hand the dealer a $100 bill and he pulls out of his pocket like the biggest wad of cash you've ever seen. It's like a clown car where it's like, how could that much cash possibly come out of one pocket? And it's like, dude, is it a good idea to pull out like $75,000 in cash to like give me change for $100 bill? Probably a stupid idea. You know, it's like,
honestly, yeah, I think it's a big risk to do that. Like, I mean, certain people, the wrong person sees that. Yeah, I don't even want to imagine, you know, what
those poor pockets are dying because they're squished. They're like, it's
That's
money.
true.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you, Sylvain. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
guys.
Thanks,
And
buddy.
Chapter 6 in the books. Where does that music come from?
Good thing I got my holy water.
Ooh. All right, we're back. Well, Baba Louie, what did you think? You enjoy Sylvain's travels and exploits over the last month or so?
Yeah, I enjoyed that whole interview with him. I love just listening, going from one show and being busy and learning how to deal with talking to people and dealing with other people, you know, in line wanting to talk to him, and then moving on to the next show, and you know, just going down the line how things work as a dealer for him, especially doing two things, you know, selling his stuff, buying stuff, and then his other part working with Slab Sharks and doing stuff too. He's got a lot to juggle around, and good on him. He's doing a nice job.
Well, what I took away, similar to you, is that there's no way to replace experience, right? There's just certain things you got to, like any job in life, you got to learn how the industry works, what works well in certain circumstances, what works well in others. And even a couple years into this, Sylvain is still into, you know, that going through that process that any mastery of any topic that just takes years. It's the whole like 10,000 hours concept, right? That
Right.
You're not really good at something until you put 10,000 hours into it. What were your key takeaways, Phil?
I have a few. First and foremost, what a beautiful head of hair. Very, very proud of one of my best buds for having that gorgeous flow. Secondly, is that honesty you hear, folks, is 100% genuine. I met Sylvain at the beginning of his dealing adventures, and I was at the table when things were crazy busy for him at the expo. I don't think he'll mind me saying this. He was handling it as best as he could, right? Being kind to everyone, probably too kind. Fast forward to that interview we just listened to, the poise he has, the confidence he has. I hope he realizes how far he's come. And I know we support him very well, but he has to know that at the end of the day. And anyone listening, if you want good business, at first I thought Sylvain might be too kind, you know, to be swimming in a pool with a bunch of sharks and dealers, and you got to offer something different. I don't know if it's different, but he offers authenticity. He offers trustworthy business. I loved how he said, you know, Josh, I'm looking for that 15-20% margin. If that doesn't sell you, that's it. He's not looking for a 50% margin. Most people look for 100. Remember when you could buy a box of Flagship, get a Makar Young Guns, and get $400 card for $115 box? I think that's why a lot of people are upset now. They're not finding value in their box, you know, and Sylvain made it through all that. And you said it yourself, the 10,000 hours. I think he's gone through the hardest stuff, the hardest points of his dealings career. and he's on his way for nothing but success. And I'm very proud that we're associated with him, and I'm proud things are going well for him.
Well, I think that's smart of him to approach it that way.
Absolutely.
That's a type of person that you could have a long-term relationship with.
Mhm.
But anyone can win a deal at the expense of a relationship.
Oh,
Right.
well said.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think he's really taking that smart approach in that regard. I think the next. Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to make one other point. Sylvain and I share a very similar quality in our character, and I think it benefits him greatly as being a dealer. If he makes a bad deal, like he'll call me and he'll just like I'll give him the 5 minutes, but he moves on quick. You got to move on quick. You take the L sometimes, and you just dip down, but you do get stronger. So Sylvain's I know I'm ranty and ravey and everything, but like 60 seconds later, I'm super smiling, having a great time, whatever I'm doing. And he's very similar with business as well.
Awesome. Yeah, the next time we'll talk to Sylvain, we'll be live at the show on the show floor.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Studio. We'll do our next confessions from the expo. We'll get a sense of how the expo is going for him so far. We'll probably do it on Saturday, so we'll give him a couple days of wheeling and dealing under his belt by the time we talk to him. But I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to move on to new product releases, and just a reminder that new product releases is brought to you by our good friends at Mint Inc. Make sure you head to mintink.ca if you're in Canada for all your new hockey product needs. They have good prices on boxes, can ship to anywhere in Canada. Someone was just showing me, they have like that breaker comp kind of deal, some Series 1, like how it kind of shows you who has the best price breaks. And it changes from break to break. I think it's rated by each individual one. And the one I saw, and it just coincidence, but I think Mint Inc. had the cheapest Series 1 break of all the breaking companies that are evaluated.
Nice.
So it sounds like they have some very good break prices too, and you might want to check them out for that. Well, 2024-25 Series 1 has been out for all of a week now. A week in the wilderness, as I guess they say. And I'm always curious when a new flagship product comes out, who are the big young gun chases going to be? Are there guys that we thought would be bigger chases that aren't? Or are there guys that are have way exceeded maybe expectations? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a look at the very early top 5 highest selling players for their young guns. And of course, based on the, there we go.
Is that it? That's it, right?
Yes. One of my favorite movies of all time. That's the one where Val Kilmer is Doc Holliday, right? He's like, I'm your Huckleberry, right?
No, that's Tombstone.
Yeah, and Young Guns 2 is better than Young Guns 1. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, way better.
I'm getting my movies mixed up. Somebody said we need a fact checker, Phil.
If it's movies, I'm
you're the movie guy.
I'm a movie guy.
Okay, so we're gonna take a look at the very early top 5 highest selling players based on the Young Guns base, and all the sales are raw because I'd be really impressed if there are PSA 10s out there right now. Are you ready, Phil?
I'm so ready. Okay? Let's go.
Okay. So the number 5. Now this is in order. Phil. Get excited. This is
all right.
Christmas
I'm proud
here.
of you.
Number 5 highest selling player in Series 1 for their Young Guns is a Montreal Canadian, Logan Malou. Is that how you say his name?
Malou, I would assume.
Malou? Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Malou?
So for the value, for the values on these, I averaged out the 5 most recent sales. Didn't just pick the last because they, tend to be a little up and down right out of the gate. So looking at the 5 most recent sales average, this card is selling for about Logan's for $1,550 US raw. The 21-year-old Canadiens defenseman has played in 2 games so far this season. He did score a goal though. And I know hardly anything about him. Do you guys know Phil? Do you know anything about Logan Malou?
Nothing.
So I wonder if he's really that great of a prospect or if this is just the Canadiens hobby folks flexing right now and saying, hey, it's got a Habs sweater on. We're gonna chase
I'm gonna go for B there, boss.
Okay. So number 5, Logan Malou. Number 4 is Matt Rempe. Last 5 sales average about $1 more, $16.50 US. The Rempire State Building looks like he's getting some early hobby love for his young guns. Did you guys know he only played 17 games last year? Doesn't it feel like he played the whole year?
Wow. And at the end too, only, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a great skater. He's an excellent skater. Saw him play the other, like he's good skating.
Skating.
Yeah,
Is he a good skater, Phil, or no?
He's an excellent skater. I'm
good.
serious.
Okay. Well, he's the enforcer type, kind of like Arbor Xhekaj, Wi-Fi a couple years ago. He's not going to get a lot of points, but is a fan favorite nonetheless. So far this season, he's only played in 2 games. Looks like he might have been a scratch or hurt or something like that. 0 points. So 1650 right now is the average raw for a Matt Rempe Young Guns. Number 3 is Cutter Gauthier. The average of the last 5 raw sales for his base Young Guns is $27. The Flyers legend and current Anaheim rookie forward has 2 assists so far in 7 games played. He's still looking for his first NHL goal. Another very young kid, just 20 years old. And he should be a goal scorer. So last year, guys, at Boston College, 38 goals in 41 games.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So he can definitely stuff at home.
You
He'll
guys
get
like
him.
that Ducks uniform?
That one?
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Really?
I like the new one better.
That's
I don't
supposed to be a D, right? Like a D.
Yeah, with a duck
Oh,
foot
okay.
in the middle.
Looks like a turd.
Yeah. What kind of turd? It looks like a Jetsons turd, if that's it.
Yeah, well, it's being thrown. The turd is in flight.
Oh, jeez.
Your turd talk leader, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. All right, Cutter Gauthier, number 3. Number 2, Logan Stankoven. Last
Hockey
5 sales
mouth.
average is about $37. Now, he's probably the most proven of the 2024-25 Calder eligible rookies. Last season, the 21-year-old Dallas forward had 6 goals, 8 assists for 14 points in 24 games played. So far this year, he's already played 7 games, does not have a goal, but does have 7 apples. So he's a point per game early on in his, I guess, technically rookie season. Not too bad. What?
It's
Apples,
base.
huh?
It's card. It's just hooping. It's just
Yeah,
a really.
hockey mouth. It's got
I would be.
epic hockey mouth.
That's worse. That's not hockey mouth. That's hockey drool.
Mm.
I would be upset if I was Logan. I would. Why'd you pick that? I know there's
Yeah,
reason.
I'd be talking to the upper deck rep and going
Yeah.
like, really?
You come here.
Really?
Come here.
And number 1, to no surprise to anyone that's been in the hobby in the past week,
Oh,
Lane Hudson. Last 5 sales average for his raw base Young Guns, $82. He currently leads all rookies in head shakes.
shimmy shake.
So I don't know if you knew that, Phil, but that's a key stat now in the hockey analytics circles. Head shakes.
Yeah, it's up there.
Head shakes 4.
Corsi head shakes.
And in 7 games played so far, the 20-year-old Canadiens defenseman has 0 goals, 4 assists for 4 points. I can't imagine there's any way that these prices are sustained. Please remember that this card will be fairly common. And in 6 months, even if he's great, will be $40, right? I mean, think Mo Sider,
Maybe 50.
maybe
You
50.
know.
Yeah.
Did you guys see my big bad Brady mock him on during the game? He got.
Was
some
he
flack
mocking
for
him,
that.
or was he frustrated by him?
No, he was mocking him. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Who has more points? Who has a better regular season? Yeah. Huh.
So that's it so far. Logan Malou, Matt Rempe, Cutter Gauthier, Logan Stankoven, Lane Hudson, like some guys that were like, our guy Jesper Wallstedt was just behind Malou, Louis. So,
Yeah.
like $10, $12, something like that. But of these 5, if you guys had to bank on one, like you got a $300 to bet on one player, which one 5 years from now do you think at this point is the biggest hobby chase?
Stankoven.
Hudson.
I'm
I
going
don't bet
Gauthier.
I don't. You put Gauthier? Really? Gauthier?
He's a goal scorer. 38 goals in 41 games.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. Boston College, right? Not university.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. We'll see how well, and again, it'll be interesting to see now when some of the big cards, the high glosses, the outbursts. Oh, the Lane Hudson. Did you guys see the gold outburst 101 is at auction right now?
Oh, no way. On eBay?
Yeah. Yeah. you can look it up.
Wow.
It should by next show we'll have an update. I'm sure
Yeah,
that'll be-
I'd love to do some loud collector videos about those high price. I love that. It's like a pitcher batter duel when two bidders go at it. I love it. Love watching. I don't like it when it's me.
All right, we have to move on. I'm incredibly excited.
Oh,
Cannot wait.
now.
Yeah. It was episode 54, almost 200 episodes ago. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. First, we got to start this. There's been tons of controversy lately in the hobby community regarding Phil from the Hockey Cards Gongshow, his representation of his, I guess we have to say, Louis, supposedly native country Canada.
Yep.
We've seen Reddit threads. There's been reaction videos. And really, it's become a huge scandal that, to some degree, we think has overshadowed the start of the NHL season even. And the issue really boils down to this. As an American-based hockey card show, we've always felt it's really important for us to have a strong Canadian representation. Because as we know, Canada is the home of hockey. So we recruited our good buddy Phil to fill this critical, crucial role and to be the voice of the proud Canadian hockey cards collector. But there's been some would say many doubts.
No,
some have questioned his knowledge of his own country. He doesn't even know how many provinces there are in Canada. He boldly states that not a single Canadian has ever heard of a very popular NHL docuseries. And this has left many pundits, fans, and even Baba Louie pretty confused. So today, we're going to get to the bottom of this very important and controversial issue. And the best way we know how, here to answer complex and complicated questions, is for the first time in almost 200 episodes. Are we ready, Louis?
I'm ready. Is Phil ready?
All right, let's go.
I'm confident. Pop culture, no. History, geography, yes.
It's a Gongshow Game Show.
Well, welcome everyone to another exciting edition of a Gongshow Game Show. I'm your host, Josh. We're ready for an exciting evening where our contestant, Phil, is playing to see if he's really Canadian. Phil comes to us from Ottawa. He's a terrific father, loves Shane Pinto and ranting about the hobby, and is desperately looking for a woman who's stepmom material. Hey, Phil. How's it going? Welcome to Gongshow Game Show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me as a contestant.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Phil, before we get started with today's game.
Well, my name is Phil. I'm born to immigrant parents from Greece and Egypt. I'm first generation Canadian, and I love hockey. I collect hockey cards, and I live in Ottawa, Canada, the nation's capital. And I'm ready to participate.
Okay. The hobby world has questioned Phil's proud Canadian heritage, but if he can answer 7 of these 10 questions,
that's it.
Every Canadian should know. And I asked ChatGPT, I said, I want 10 questions that every Canadian should know. And the internet and the robots, they know everything. So their word is bond. So basically, Phil, if you don't get 7 of 10, you're not a real Canadian. Do you understand the rules of the game and what's at stake?
I have some questions about the rules.
Sorry.
Is it multiple choice?
Oh.
Oh, God. Okay.
All right. Are you ready, Phil, to play?
I'm ready.
Is Phil a Canadian? Really?
Oh, last question. How do I have a time limit to answer the questions?
A reasonable amount of time. Not a time limit to look stuff up. And you got to keep your eyes on the
obviously
camera.
Not.
Eyes on the camera.
Yes.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Question 1.
Okay.
Which Canadian province is home to the Bay of Fundy, known for having the highest tides in the world? Bill, do you know the answer?
I know the Bay of Fundy is between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. I don't think it belongs to a particular province because it's part of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Bill, off to a very hot start. Wow. Good job.
Thank you.
Wow. Very exciting.
Okay.
Wow. You nailed that. Was a tough one.
Was that a trick question on purpose?
Maybe.
Because maybe a province does have more of association to it. I'm not sure.
Question 2.
Mhm.
Which Canadian Prime Minister won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1957 for his role in resolving the Suez Crisis?
Lester Bull Pearson. Yeah.
Wow. 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't cheat on this, or did you?
No, absolutely not. How would I cheat? My father was born in Egypt, and that's the main country. And you picked an easy question for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're 2 for 2. You're off to an amazing start, Phil.
Good.
I'm very happy about that. What is the longest river in Canada? Question number 3.
I know it's not the St. Lawrence. Oh, I think it starts with an M. I don't. It's Macmillan, Mackenzie. Which one?
Mackenzie.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah,
I know,
he needed to give a final answer.
No.
You jumped the trigger on that one.
Oh,
but we'll give it
no.
to Phil.
I probably
Did you
would have
see
picked
the look on his
Macmillan.
face? You couldn't let him go through that any longer.
I
loved
knew.
it.
I knew that. I knew that answer for sure at one point in my life, but so much
All right.
crap has happened. You know.
I'll give him a half a point.
I'll take the halvesies. Thanks, Bubba.
Okay. No, you get the full point. Yeah,
I'm legit
you're good.
sweating.
All right, 3 for 3.
Okay.
Question 4. What is the national animal of Canada?
Oh. Well, it's got to be a beaver. Everyone loves beaver, right? It's got to be a beaver.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer. Unless it would be a moose. No, it's got to be the beaver. Can I pick a backup? No, it's the
No.
beaver.
No.
It's a beaver. Yeah.
All right. Wow. 4 for 4. You're nailing it. You might actually be Canadian. Are there that many beavers in Canada?
There's lots of I like muskrats and gophers and any marmot. They're cool. Yeah, prairie dogs.
I would have sworn that like a moose would have been the national.
No, it's been the beaver. Yeah, roots.
Oh, really?
You know, do you guys have roots in America?
Our trees.
Well,
do.
it became popular during the Olympics here when like Canada
Yeah.
wore the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake, I think.
We were the best dressed in Salt Lake.
Best dress. Oh yeah, by far. You guys
Yeah.
crushed that.
Yeah,
That was-
we've struggled since then. Things got a little weird, but
Would it be cooler, like though, if the moose was? Because I mean, are beavers that cool? I don't know. Well, they're
beavers are really cool. You ever seen a pet beaver? They take their stuffed animals and build dams in people's homes. They're great. Yeah, raccoons.
Okay.
Yeah, they're good too.
wow. You're crushing this, Phil. I'm very, very impressed. Okay,
Thanks, Josh.
question 5.
Okay.
What is Canada's largest national export?
Oh, crude oil.
Final
Oh
answer?
no, is that? No, it is by far. Cars, I think. Yeah, no, crude oil. Don't just. It's crude oil.
All right.
Yes.
Wow, 5
Yeah.
for 5.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I could get everything wrong now. I'm okay. Okay.
Well, you get 2 more wrong.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going. Question 6.
Mhm.
What iconic Canadian landmark was completed in 1976 and is the tallest structure in the country?
1976.
Yep.
Oh. I thought it was the CN Tower, but wasn't that made in the 80s? I think doesn't CIBC have a big building? I don't know. I'm sorry.
What's your final answer, Phil?
I don't have one.
Well,
Pick
say something.
CN Tower? Oh,
All right.
when was it? Oh, I'm not really
1976.
I thought it was made in the
Yeah.
80s.
You're 1 away from being a real Canadian. This is very exciting and good for us for the
crazy.
show.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 7.
All right.
Which Canadian artist holds the record for most #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100?
Oh. Celine Dion?
Final answer?
Yeah, I guess. Oh, it's like Drake or something.
Yeah, it's Drake.
Ah, whatever. That's
Okay.
okay. I don't know. Glass Tiger? I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Question 8. This is the first one wrong.
Okay.
What Canadian comedy series created by Dan Levy swept the Emmys in 2020, winning multiple awards, including Outstanding Comedy Series? Bill, you're a man of the people. Obviously, you'll know this.
I don't know who Dan Levy is. Oh, he's okay. I got this. He's
Okay.
Eugene Levy's son, and they were in a show called some I'm struggling. I know he's in a show with his dad, and it's a funny
Yep.
name on. I don't remember the show name.
The only time
gotta
you could
guess.
probably say it on this show.
Yeah, you got to guess. Louis, stop. You got to
Sorry.
guess.
I don't know. It's not even on the tip of my tongue. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right.
What is it?
I don't know is the final answer.
Yeah. You gonna tell me or what?
Well, Louis got to do the buzzer.
Oh, what are you booing at me? I didn't.
Schitt's Creek.
I did know that. I've never seen it. I've never seen the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. You don't watch TV. Had to throw one TV in there.
Oh, I'm not
Now-
doing good now.
Well, here's the deal. This is working out perfect.
Okay.
You just got to get one of the next two questions right,
Okay.
and they're hockey questions.
Oh, gold.
And no like winking, Baba Louie, or helping.
even look at
I
Louis.
see
There
you.
you go.
I see you trying to.
I got
you
this.
wanna- okay.
If
These are
it's Canadian
hockey
hockey,
questions.
I probably
So
got it.
you could make the argument you don't deserve to be Canadian, right? If you get the last two wrong, given their
I've felt so good doing so well, and now you just brought me back down to like stepchild status. All right, let's go.
All right, question 9.
Yeah.
Who was the first player in NHL history to score 50 goals in 50 games?
Maurice Rocky Richard.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Good job, Phil.
Thanks, buddy.
That's awesome. All right, now we'll just do the last one for fun.
Okay.
Question 10. Where was Shane Pinto born?
Oh, that's the Pinto question. Oh, man, I don't know.
You have 400 young guns and you don't know where he's born?
This is like the time the guy got mad at me on one of our YouTube comments. He said, "What kind of a Sens fan are you if you don't know where Claude Giroux's birth hometown is?" Like, get out of here, man. Okay. I'm gonna guess Newark, New Jersey. Can I guess the state?
I don't know. Yeah, the state.
Okay, the state. New Jersey. No, but he's a Jets fan. Yeah, so he's a Jets fan. So they play in New Jersey. He's from New Jersey. Yeah.
Final answer?
Oh, come on.
Born in New York.
Ah,
Close. Yeah.
where in New York? Like Albany?
I don't know. I'm not a Shane Pinto. I don't have 400. I think I have 2 Shane Pinto young guns. If
You're
that.
such a jerk. I just know it's not New Jersey, Phil. All right, how'd I do?
Wow,
Like
8 out of 10. That is pretty good. Okay, so you are. We can't make fun of you for well, we
7
still
and a
will.
half out of
Good.
10. Oh man, the boys, I'm not kidding. I am confident, but I was a little nervous there. I don't want to look like too much of an idiot.
Well, it's kind of hard to write the questions because as being not Canadian and knowing any of these, I didn't know if they were too hard or too easy. Like, were they good questions, do you think?
I love them. I love
Okay.
geography and history. I'm a big history buff, and I do know how many provinces there are. There's 10 and 3 territories, I hope. But yeah. So
Well, Baba Louie, did it convince you that Phil's Canadian now?
I could show you my birth certificate.
You're on mute, bud.
He's just nodding.
Yeah, he won.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
good.
Good job,
We
Phil.
We should do this again. I should say, how American are you guys? And you and Louis should, and I should make 10 questions.
Well,
Good.
Louis has to kind of run the show, but
Oh.
yeah, you could test my Americanism.
Okay.
Um,
Can I whip that
Okay.
up on the side there over the weekend?
Sure.
if you
All
want,
right.
go for
I'm
it.
on it. Yeah.
All right, boys. It's time for our Fanatics Collect weekly preview. A reminder, Fanatics Collect is a Gongshow partner sponsor. We're grateful for their support of our show. The October premiere auction ends tonight. Be sure to log on to fanaticscollect.com. Maybe place a bid on one of the 9 iconic hockey cards up for auction. These are all like grails. These are big, big cards available to bid on in the premiere. And then again, don't forget about the Fanatics Collect Buy Now Marketplace. There's about 3,500 hockey cards currently to choose from. But it is Thursday, boys. The current Fanatics Collect Weekly Auction has some great hockey cards in it, as they do each week. Phil, proud Canadian Phil, real Canadian Phil, Baba Louie, and I have gone through the auction. Each picked out a vintage and modern card to highlight. And with that said, I'm going to kick it off with my favorite vintage card in this week's auction. So mine's a little bit of a curveball here.
Oh boy.
I went with the 1959 Comet Suites Olympic Achievement Second Series Ice Hockey. It's card number 46, and this is in a PSA 9 holder. The first thing that attracted to me was it's kind of oddball, and I like sort of oddball things. And you don't see cards this old in that good of shape pretty often. So PSA 9 is a pop 4, none graded higher. And again, I put this in the kind of cool conversational card category. So I look at cards like this in sort of this way. Like if we're all at the Chateau Gongshow and all of our hobby buddies are there, and I say, hey, check out this card, it's going to start a conversation, right?
Yep.
You're going to be like, oh, wow, what is this? Where is it from? What does it depict? It's, you've put a Bedard Young Guns on the table and everyone's seen 6,000 of those. This is just one of those cards you don't see every day. So the 1959 Comet Suites Olympic Achievement Set had 50 cards in it. Cards 1 through 25 were in Series 1, 26 through 50 were in Series 2. This card is number 46, and while we're certainly not a math show here, I think it puts it squarely in the Series 2 bucket. It's one of 2 ice hockey cards in the 1959 Olympic Achievement Set. The other one is card number 20 from Series 1, and I couldn't even find a picture of that, let alone a sale. So, I mean, that's like a hobby mystery there. This card, though, commemorates the 1956 Olympic Games in which Phil, Russia would take gold, the US of A silver, and Canada third. That's never maybe that's why this card isn't more popular, right? If it's
no, I think it's not popular because it's pretty unattractive.
I don't think it's cool. It's got a Norman Rockwell hockey kind of vibe to it. And again, I just like these sort of oddball cards. Last sale of the 1959 Comet Suites Olympic Achievement Series 2 Ice Hockey PSA 9 was for all of $75 US this past May. It's also the all-time high. You got a current bid, Baba Louie?
$6. Wow. US.
Josh, you spent $6. You're winning the bid.
I haven't bid on it yet. No.
Uh-huh.
All right, Louie, you got the next one.
I decided to choose a 1962 Parkhurst Gordie Howe number 31 PSA. I'm not a super huge fan of horizontal cards, but for some reason, looking through the auction, this one caught my attention. Gordie in the middle, big old puck in the background with the Red Wings logo on it. Clean to the point for an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it was a super nice card. I could only see, like, over on the left-hand side, maybe if you want to bid on this guy, a little spot on the left. The puck's got a couple marks on it, and because I'm a back snob, I don't know if that. Let's see. How do you say this on a horizontal card? Well, bottom right, we'll say, or bottom left if it's vertical. Spot there, and another one on the right side.
They went with Gordon on the back too. See that?
How Gordon?
It's like his mother's mad at him. Gordon.
So is that a picture or is that a drawing? That's a picture, eh?
Looks like a picture.
Yeah, I think what they did is they cut that stuff out and then like put it like on top of each other in layers. You know what I think of when I look at this card? Have you ever been at the beach or like seen a video of like the person like that's standing in the ocean, like waving at their family, and they don't see the giant wave that's about to take them out? It's like here's like the giant hockey puck just flying in at Gordie Howe.
Yeah, take them right out. Chop block.
Here it comes. So last sale for this beauty, February 15th, 2024, for $361 USD, and it is currently up to $56 USD on the bid. I love
Phil,
that card.
All right, Phil's turn.
Which one do you pick, buddy?
I went completely uncharacteristic for myself. What you're
Wow.
looking at, good listener and visual looker, is a Lanny McDonald 1974 o-pee-chee PSA 6. The reason I picked it, though, is because I didn't recognize who this was. He is
No mustache.
He is mustache-less. So for one of the most recognizable hockey players of all time, he is very unrecognizable in this PSA 6 rookie card. So not only is he missing his stash, where's that massive bucket that he usually wears as well, right? So there's a couple of things here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this, but the reason he doesn't have a mustache is because the Toronto Maple Leafs at the time allowed no facial hair. So when he got traded, he had a beard. Yeah. So they allowed no beards, I think that was the thing. And then he got traded, and then he got traded back to Toronto. And then I think he kept a mustache because that was okay. Something like that.
That's like the Yankees here, right? Louis, didn't they have that for a long time, or is that still a thing?
That's still a thing.
Really?
Oh,
eh?
okay.
And current bid is $16 USD. So go get it. Really off center.
He's looks like he's smiling and laughing. I think he's gloating that he's keeping Yager out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's a villain. He's a villain. His biggest trick was everyone thinking he's kind and gentle, but he won't put the big guy in.
Well, now Yager's going to retire, so hopefully they expedite that. We'd love to see that happen. Okay, we're going to move on to modern. So here's kind of a big one, I think. 2016 Ultimate Collection, Sidney Crosby Shield Patch 101. SGC 8.5. Big card alert. We need like a big card alert. Wah, wah. Nah,
Yeah. No, it's
You-
good.
Big
card alert. Da-dum.
Big card alert. So it's a Sidney Crosby game used NHL Shield 101. It's a vertical shield card. Now, do you guys like your shields vertical or horizontal?
Vertical.
Vertical.
Okay.
Let's get vertical. Vertical.
Are you a shield guy in general? Like Phil, do you have a Brady Tkachuk shield in your collection?
I'm trying to buy one from a girl who won at a 101 cup at a break, and there we found another entrepreneur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'll see what I can do at the expo. But yes, I do like them, but I don't go crazy.
Now, there's two types of Crosby shields you'll find. There's nouns and verbs. Just kidding.
Hey, I thought I got a lot of positive DMs from that. That was good. I liked my little English lesson.
Baba Louie has seen it. Let's just say I made you a T-shirt, and it'll be
Oh,
here before the
boy.
expo.
Oh boy. All right.
Okay, well, there are two types of Crosby shields, noun and verbs, and there's dual NHL shields. A lot of them like Crosby and Lemieux, and a lot of cool cards like that. And then there's just a few though that are solo Shield 101s. I could only find 5 sales in Card Ladder sales history going back to something like 2017, 18 or 17, 18 years. So if you're a big Crosby guy, this is probably a rare opportunity to pick up a pretty big card. Like I would imagine that, there's some whale Crosby collectors out there that there's not a lot of 101 shields. So I'm guessing this one will get a lot of activity, if you know what I mean. Now there isn't an auto. Does that bother you? Like would you rather have, I think I may have asked Troy this at one point, but would you rather have a rookie patch auto with like a player worn jersey or a second year nice patch card with a game used patch
With
but
no auto?
Yeah.
I'd go first scenario.
Yeah, whatever. I forgot. Whatever you said first, though.
Oh, so the auto's that important to you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
much
my
do you think
favorite
that-
player.
Sure. Do you think that will dramatically affect a card like this without an auto, or it's just a Crosby game used
No.
shield?
It's a Crosby, so
Yeah, no one cares. He didn't sign it. Whatever. They're going for it. As they should. One of the greatest players of all time.
Now, this card is not sold publicly that I could find, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it goes for. You got a current bid, Louis?
675 USD.
I would smash that buy button right now at that price.
Mm-hmm.
You'd pick it up right away, Josh? Not even think about it?
$700?
Yeah.
You don't think you could take this to the expo and
Oh,
people
dude,
wouldn't be-
I'm the worst guy to sell. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd probably screw it up.
well, that's my modern pick. Louis, what did you choose?
I'm glad you actually picked him like a real modern card this time.
Oh, stop.
Wait till mine.
Phil didn't.
Yeah, I did. And I will explain.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Look at this. 2013 Fleer Showcase, Wayne
Ugh.
Gretzky, Skybox, Premium Star Rubies, PSA 8. This
Out of
card's
50.
awesome. It's out of 50.
Yeah.
The font's weird.
Beautiful card. What font?
Are you a font snob?
I'm a font snob. It's in perfect cursive. Buy your card, Louis.
This is a card that I think Louis, probably the camera can't do it justice. You got to see it in hand, right?
Like
I
the
would
jambalayas,
imagine so,
eh,
yep.
guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So not a lot to say about Gretzky. The card looks good. After looking it over, it got an 8 probably because of edge issues and one little corner blurb. So this one is a pop 1 of 3 at 8, 4 graded higher. There's 3 PSA 9s and 1 PSA 10, and that PSA 10 gem sold on December 4th of 2022 for $3,240 US dollars.
Holy, that was Mike. Mike bought it.
Now, the last sale of a PSA copy like this one here was on August 2nd of 2023 for $455 USD. And currently, the bid is at $52.
Here's my favorite PSA 8 question.
Mm-hmm.
You buy this card for whatever it costs. You crack it. Does it
Yep.
instantly go up in value the minute it comes out of the PSA 8 slab?
Yeah.
I
Like
say
for
it
what you
does.
could sell it for raw.
I say it does because,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Is that now I'm a part 2? Is that ethical, Phil?
I'm just waiting. I don't know. I whatever the said individual does needs to sleep at night. If you're a sociopath, you're fine. Me,
Because
I should've-
that's like one of the things we never talk about with grading. We talk a lot about maybe of the false promises or follies of grading, but the raw value equation is, and I guess what I'm driving at here is, a lot of people buy cards and they with the lottery fantasy that, oh, what if this gemmed if I graded it?
Sure.
Right. And so if it's an 8, it's an 8. If
Right.
it comes out of the slab, and let's say you spend $600 on an 8, could you get $800 for raw just because people might, the untrained eye might think,
Yeah.
oh, I could send this to PSA and get a 10. And in that scenario, if you knowingly do that, well, and I want to say too, on the ethics question, I'm not even saying that you say, ooh, this card's perfect, it might get a 10. What if you say nothing and you don't ever mention that it wasn't a PSA slab, and you just leave it up to the complete interpretation of the buyer as to how they value the card?
I still struggle with that because I do believe lying by omission is
lying.
not being truthful. Right?
So once graded, always graded.
Listen, if I had this card and it was an 8 and I cracked it and I had it raw for sale at my table, I don't think you have to tell people. If someone just buys it raw and they're not telling you their intentions, you don't have to be a motor mouth either, right? You can just let them buy the card if they're not chatty. If they specifically say, oh, this is in pretty good condition, or it's
well, what would you think if I graded it? Then maybe
then you
we
got to
should
tell
say
it
wasn't
I
8.
would 100%.
But here's the thing with PSA 2 though, and what makes this even more difficult, and maybe even more of an ethical gray area, is kind of what we know about PSA is, it's an 8, I'll crack it, send it back. Maybe it comes back a 9, maybe it comes back a 10, right? Just because they've put an 8, does it mean that it's an actual 8 on a 10-point scale? That doesn't necessarily mean it either.
And do you disclose that? Do you disclose that in all honesty with somebody? Hey, if this card got an 8 the first time I sent it in, now I got a 9.
It's all in the salesmanship, I think. So if the guy's like, okay, let's say the conversation goes like this. Oh, this looks pretty good. What do you think it would grade? I'd say, well, it ought to be to give you full disclosure. I cracked it out of a PSA 8 because I thought if I sold it raw, someone would have a better chance to get a better grade. What do you think? Let's work out a deal.
That's a good way.
There's a good way of spinning it. There's a good way of spinning it. A very authentic way where you both win.
I wish I'd have looked up. There was, I saw a handful when I was checking prices of raw copies, and what they had sold for. Because personally for me, when I'm going to buy a card, I treat an 8 to me like a raw copy.
Yeah, me too. I do. I treat 9s as raw.
I
pretty
think
much.
that's almost 9 now. I mean, I think
Yeah.
there's so little
Really?
value, and it depends on the card. If it's a cup RPA, it's not a big deal. But if it's a 24 point or 35 point card or whatever it is, then that's more common than like a Young Guns. A 9 is almost worthless at this point. compared to
Right. And also depends on the card too, because we know I can't think of one off the top of my head, but some grade like crap. Some of the cups 7s is the best you're gonna get, and you go get it.
I don't know
Mhm.
why I have to find a very approachable way to show aggression because who grades the cup grading is just there's certain cards you just shouldn't grade, and I think the cup is a set where most cards just shouldn't be graded, and
I don't disagree with you.
cheeses my butt when I
Yeah.
see slabs and slabs and slabs of beautiful cards that no one can ever hold in hand naked, you know.
Speaking of butt, Phil, you're up next.
Oh, it's my
Yep.
turn. Well, let's
Yep.
go. Sorry, Wayne. Oh, yes. I'm very excited to talk about this card. So, to my definition, this is a modern card. So, what you're looking at, good listener, is a 1991-92 score card. Now, we have an American and we have Canadian. And if you
Mhm.
remember, there was the purple boxes, there was the red boxes, and there were the blue boxes, but none of that matters. So, I don't know about you two schlubs, but I adored this Bobby Orr insert set in 1991 score. It was one of the first chases I ever can remember in my childhood of collecting hockey cards. There's 6 cards total in the set. Cards 1 and 2. Actually, I'll explain the card first. It's the card if you're listening. It's from the score set, and it's Bobby Orr with the black border. And
Mhm.
he had 6 cards, and some of them are called the rookie. One's called the championship, so on and so forth. So cards 1 and 2 were in both American and Canadian editions. Cards 3 and 4 were in Canadian packs only. Cards 5 and 6 were in American packs. The cards are not numbered, but what you're looking at, what you're looking at here is just a regular non-auto card, but there is an autograph. There's 2,500 cards each of the 6 card sets. There were 270,000 cards produced of the non-autos. So there's 1,500 Bobby Orr autographs out there. And if you look at the back of the card, unfortunately, this card doesn't have it, but on the autograph ones, he hand wrote the 2,500, and there's the autograph.
Really?
Yeah, they're
Bobby did?
beautiful. Bobby did. They're
Wow.
beautiful, beautiful cards. They're so
Do you have
nice.
one?
And- no, I wish I did. I don't have any. I always want to grab some at the expo. I never really see them, but it's definitely on my bucket list because this. I mean it. This was like the first chase. I remember buying score packs just trying to get these Bobby Orr cards. I wish someone told me about the Canadian American thing, but didn't know that
Yeah.
at the time. No wonder I only had 4 out of 6. Where are the 5 and 6? Oh well. But yeah, it's a beautiful card. I adore it. Current bid is $5. It's not worth a lot. Like I said, 270,000 of them. I still have a case
That's
of
it?
score in my garage.
It is a CGC 7.
I apologize. It is
Yeah.
a CGC 7. My eyes don't even see the slabs anymore. Yeah. And CGC has a great slab. They're little blue tint on them for some reason. Tags the top dog
Yeah.
in the plastic. But yeah, $5. It can be yours.
All right. Check out these 6 cards or any of the other amazing hockey cards available this week in the Fanatics Collect Weekly Auction. You can do that at fanaticscollect.com. Well, personal pickups. I'm the only one.
It's
I'm usually
personal
the one.
pickups, where Phil takes a giant dookie on Josh's new cards. Then Josh cries himself to sleep later that night.
Sucky, baby.
I
Get
do
out.
too. It does hurt my feelings that you hate my cards, but
I only hate some of your cards.
I just want your approval, Phil. I just want your approval.
You always
Okay.
have my approval. I love you, big guy.
First card I
Yeah.
2024-25 Upper Deck Holotypes, Matthew Tkachuk. Don't sleep
Nice.
on this set. If you're still hanging with us at this point in the show, here's a good tip. These cards are ridiculously rare. They're super cheap. They're very cool in hand, and it's a living set. So what that means is the card design will continue for a few years, and they will never reproduce a player again. So Matthew Tkachuk holotypes will only be in 2024-25 Series 1. And especially Upper Deck has had an issue of reproducing cards over and over and over again. I find this whole concept very refreshing.
Yes.
And I'm kind of going for the set And it's amazing. Like, what did we say, Phil? These are like for any specific player, it's 1 in 15,000 packs.
15,000. Yeah.
1 in 15,000 packs, and you can get these now for like 20, 30, 40 bucks.
I mean, Josh, when we were
They
talking
look
on the
awesome.
phone, when we were talking on the phone the other day, we talked like 10 minutes just about holotypes. Like, I mean, we're big nerds, but this card is awesome. And maybe we should have said this next week. I've been picking them up on eBay all week for cheap. Yeah. So,
All right.
yeah, bid against Josh and me against these cards because they're great.
What do you got, Phil?
Nothing. Well,
Nothing?
I did. I got. I just didn't want to. I'm sorry. I got a Stutzel holotype. I got a Stutzel holotype. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Very happy.
Nice.
Sharp, eh, Josh?
Probably.
In the hand.
Yeah,
Really good.
yeah, they're great.
I got stuff coming, but I had one get sent back to a place in Canada because supposedly, if you see on the screen here, return to sender. I guess I'm deceased,
Oh,
so I don't know what's going on with my mail lately.
Maybe Joanne answered the door one day when she was mad at you. She's like, "Nope, I killed him. He's in the basement."
what day is your funeral? Oh, I'm busy.
Yeah,
All
Can I
bummer.
have
Me
your
too.
Sequoia? Can I have your Sequoia?
Sure,
Nice.
you can wrestle my wife for it.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, huh? Did it make you question your mortality or what?
No, I'm fully alive and ready to rock, baby. But I was
Oh,
like, what
okay.
in the hell's going on?
All right. Well, it wasn't 4 hours, but it's over 2. So hey, there you go. If you like
Right.
the episode, please leave a rating, review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, you want to chat with us every day on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. The link is in the show description. Within podcast apps and YouTube, in our Instagram, TikTok profile, you can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patreon link. Or if you want, just type in patreon.com, go to Patreon's website directly, and then search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. Phil, you might be just shocked as a proud Canadian to hear that our show is on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And boys, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dogbox Ventures LLC. Have an awesome, awesome weekend. We can't wait to be back on Monday. All right, Louis, take us out.
Bye.